All right, so is that you telling me we're about ready to go? All right. Well, gentlemen on the couch.
そうですね、もう5万
Let's
ドル
get
で
some
すね。
Secret of Mana going.
All right, and we're just going to do a quick little sneak peek at some of the things you might see in the Glitch Fest later on.
2時
So
間
we've
ですって
set。up a very special spot with
2時
the
間だって。
intro cutscene.
早すぎね。
And we did something a little out of the ordinary. So this is right after the opening cutscene ends, and if I press B, music starts. You can kind of move around.
Just a little.
For some reason, we've managed to talk to the sword, which is about there.
About 2 screens
Not
away.
there.
Oh.
And now we are going on a journey, on a magical journey.
There's the
Oh,
sword.
there's the sword.
There's the sword.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh,
Bye
right.
bye. So yeah,
Ah.
Secret of Mana is maybe slightly broken, and if you'd like to see the
早速
glitch
バグを
fest, well,
知って
You
る
know。what to do.
indeed. Alrighty, let's get this started. Yep.
Okay, so so Hromp obviously is the name. This is obviously going to be the 3-player, 3-controller category. So the majority of the strats will be kind of similar to the 1-player, 2-controller category. If any of you have seen that, but yeah, we're just going to do a little bit differently. Is it you and me starting, or is it you and
Yeah, starting. There
Right.
we go.
Alright.
Okay, so obviously before we start, you did obviously
2時間でクリアだと思いま
donate
す
to
これ。
have a 2-player, 1-controller up until Tropicala when we get our second character. So yeah, whenever these two are
2
ready.
時間でクリアですね。
Are you guys ready? Yeah, cool. In 3, 2, 1, go. Woo. Okay, so
Maybe real quick,
Yeah.
before we start,
あ、これ
who is
フリーで
who
とか。
on the
Wow.
couch
That's a good
for anyone who
question.
does not know?
お
mine
お、
is
すげえ
BOWIEtheHERO.
増えた。
I'm StingerPA.
And I'm Yagamoth.
さっきの名前です
No,
け
not
ど。
me, just those two, the gods. The good mana.
名前ですけど、
So,
H
oh, jeez, buddy,
論布
very
っていう
nice.
のが
So
ドネー
yeah,
ションインセン
two-player,
シブの
one
結果です
controller
ね。
just
そ
for the
の
beginning.
寄付の
So,
金額によ
will be
っ
taking
て
control of the D-pad,
名前が
Yaga with the face
決めら
buttons.
れるっていう、まあ条件です
So
ね
Secret。of Mana is a
で、
very,
名前が
very, very
H
good game, in
論
my
布になりました。
opinion.
ランディ
An
がね。
action RPG for those of you who haven't seen it, obviously
で、
part
ポ
of the
ポ
Mana
イが
series, sequel
バル
to
ジャ
Final Fantasy
バ
Adventure, and prequel to
なんて言ったらい
ST3,
いのこれ。
Second Ten Century 3. So the game's going to kind of start out
Baradin
simply.
っていう
We're going
よく
to
わかん
be
ない。
just kind of leveling ourselves up and using a bit of experience.
これ、ルールが1人、
of the early game.
何
So in terms of the
もう
narrative,
画面の通りです。
ages ago there was a war between
2人でプレイ、コントローラー1個握るっていう。
and many years later, something might
これも寄付の結果ですね。
Time flows like a river and history repeats. Do you join Randy or Hromp currently, but is with other people from his village, Elliot and Timothy. He falls off the waterfall in classic Mana fashion, and Elliot and Timothy run back home to Potos village to tell the elder what happened.
カップルプレイ、そうですね。
So we're going to get started here. So first of all, we're going to start by moving straight down and then down left and dashing. You might see
もう
cheeky bit
早
of swag
速
from our players here, doing a
早速
moonwalk.
動きが
Very, very simply done just by holding down R and B. Then moving
早
across
速
the
動
bridge
きが
and
若干
running.
変態なんです
What
け
they
ど
did is they actually kind of went to the stairs to the bridge, but by going via the top and then onto it rather than climbing up the steps, it's a little bit quicker getting around that way. And you
まあ
may
ここは
notice as
ね
well that they spoke to the
ランディ
checked
君、
or
まあ
activated the
ホラン
sword
プ
about a tile and a
ホラン
half
プ
away from the actual stone.
剣をね
So
抜いてしまうと
Close enough.
いうと
it
ころ
looks
か
good
ら
enough that he's
始まるわ
actually
け
pulling
で
the
す
sword
が
as well.
Indeed. Also keep in mind, this is all currently 2-player, 1 controller, which is, well, kind of the opposite of how we normally play this game, isn't
Yeah,
it?
indeed, yeah. So the 1-player, 2-controller category is usually where obviously one player is controlling 2 characters at once for most boss
ね、
fights
す
in
ごい
between
ですよね
certain
ちょっと
areas.
スピードランドとか見てき
Kind
ま
of,
す
yeah, returning that on,
チャイム
on its head. It's
チャ
a
イム
lot
ちゃんと見
harder
てな
than
い
it
ね
seems because the way it works is you press A to run, but then you only run in one straight direction, so you're kind of committed to your direction as soon as you press run. So it's about the
ちょっと見
players
て
just
き
knowing
ます
when they're
ね
in specific positions, other to move and or attack at the right time. So, into the first area. These rabbits have 20 HP, and main attack will do between either 14 or 18. At 20%, you'll hit not by 1 but by 2. So
このルールで
that builds up. At 100%, you'll do your maximum damage, and you'll do fractions of that at lower percent. At 60%,
このルールで
you'll be able
この
to
2
do
人が
2
この2
damage
人が
not
やってる
1.
んですけど
So hoping for an 18, wait until 60% and move on. You can get a 6 as well to kind of counteract the
この2人がやってるんですけ
on
ど
the lower one. Quite unlucky
1
there
時間
with a
54分で
stab
す
animation rather
記
than
録
the
が
swing animation, which is obviously a lot quicker. But anywhere between 7 and 9 rabbits in this first kind of section, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far, I believe. 6,
はい
7, 8.
Alrighty.
Would you go for the 9? No.
Nah.
It was a 2, so you didn't want to risk attacking and getting the 14. Yeah. So we made our way to Potos village now, and just moving over these, and then kind of just kind of sliding around that bottom bit by just dashing, and getting into this first cutscene.
いや1人の方
A
が
lot of the time you can kind of
1
run
人で
across or into the terrain
2つ
and
コ
they
ン
will
トロー
just
ラ
kind
ー
of
使う
slide you
のとか
alongside
も
it.
ルールあるんで
However, in a lot of cases,
なんとも言えないんですけど
you seem to get stuck everywhere. However, the main reason for that is usually the camera. The camera scroll or manipulation in this game is actually kind of a reasonably large part of the speedrun.
まあ1人で2つコントローラー使ったら1時間48分ですね
to push me to the side and make my
今
run
左の
quicker
方が
or
1位です
how is it exactly going to work? So for anyone who does not know this game at all, in the bottom middle you can see our hero. He has a little portrait there. 50 out of 50, that is our HP, our health. And then we also have that little bar which, as soon as we swing or run, it
そうです
will
ねソロ
start counting
1
up
コントローラーでも2時間半で
200%.
すから
And that is our stamina bar. And as soon as we
早い
hit
ですよ
100%,
ね
we swing again. If we swing before that, we will deal very little damage. And here we have also the first boss. We try to stand just far away that he does not hit
これ
us.
海外版だと
And we also
ケツを
try
出して
to
るんです
hit
ね
as soon as possible just before he swings at us. So far this is going to be quite fine.
ね
That's a very nice fight, very good fight.
Right, yeah.
あっさり倒しましたけど
That is a lot tighter than it seems as well, so it's quite easy to kind of be either a
ほ
little
ら
bit too close
あ
and
の
get
日
hit.
本
It
語は
doesn't really-
日本の
doesn't
聖剣伝
still, but it
説
does
だ
kind
と
of like increase the time it takes
指さし
to,
ながら
it's
なんとかしろよっつって言ってるじゃ
I
ないで
think
す
it's
か
between you and then just,
Right.
me and I'll pass the commentary over to Yaga.
Way to go
Excellent. So, as you might be able to imagine, trying to play one controller is kind of tricky in terms of communication and trying to figure out what is the other person doing. So we just kind of decided to, whoever is not currently doing the, controller controlling, is going to be the main portion of the comment here. We will probably just kind of chime in and out. So, either way, the basic story
とりあえず
here is the boy
2
returns
人で
home
1つの
and,
コントローラー握るのは
it turns out
お
that
互いが
sword
何をやるか
was
分かってない
protecting
と
the
うまく
village
できないから
some
難しいん
way,
ですけど
and
って
now
言って
that
ま
the
す
boy pulled it out, everywhere are monsters. We just defeated one of the bigger ones. We also received a so-called sword orb from the Mantis Ant boss, and that sword orb, or orbs in general, are used to power up weapons. The reason why we kill enemies in the first area is not for character level, it is for us to acquire weapon level experience. We need to kill a total of 11 enemies in order to level up the level, sword from level 0 to 1. After we level the sword up, we will be able to hold B and charge up the weapon in order for us to be able to execute an attack that deals 50% more damage per charge level. So the maximum charge level we can have currently is level 1. As soon as we upgrade the sword, the maximum will be level 2 as soon as we get enough weapon experience. But, well, we have the weapon orb yet at this point. However, we will still need to upgrade it at the blacksmith Watts. You will see him later. Also, this flower here can be a bit of a troll, because you can only hit it with a swing attack, and if you get a stab attack, which, depending on your distance to the enemy, is about 50% of the time, you don't hit it. Stabs are generally just really not useful. Also, kind of sidestepped on the stairs there a little bit. Generally speaking, you can see you kind of want to avoid stairs. They are really slow. And the way they do this is just kind of sidestep the stairs just off to the left or to the right, just like there, in order for them to take advantage of the flat terrain instead of the stairs.
階段登るときに左右を押すことによって普通に登るよりも早く登れます。
Don't worry, that is not going to be the case for that much longer. So here, this guy on the left here is Gemma. The lady up there is Luca. She also has red eyes, in case you never noticed this.
And she's
noticed
200 years old as well. She's quite old.
Yes. I actually only noticed this about, I don't know, after doing 50 runs or so. Suddenly realized, hey, that lady has red eyes. That's kind of interesting. Either way, the basic story of this game now kind of implies that in order for us to power up the sword and bring back, well, I guess, peace to the world, steal the 8 mana seeds
今ストーリーの説明ですね。
restore
剣を抜いちゃったから、 剣の力を
However,
また鍛えて戻さないといけないよ。
not quite do the entire story.
その間に
So you will see what
主人公巻き込まれるわけですが。
That's the basic idea for now. Also, basic dialogue here. You choose 3 times the left option and once the right option. If you choose the wrong one at the last option, well, you will hear the entirety of the dialogue that you didn't hear yet by choosing the wrong one.
そうですね。
That costs you about 20 to 25 seconds.
そういう表現がないですからね。
And that's really easy to just kind of mindlessly mash through it. But right now,
まあちょっと古臭い英語を使うっていう感じですかね。
Alright,
やるとしても。
this is how you seal a mana seed. It actually does have little gameplay implications. Your character is slightly stronger than before, deals a bit more damage, has a bit more defense, has a bit more magic power, in case magic is becoming relevant. And that's pretty nice. Also here, don't save over your own save. So here, what Bowie and Stinger are doing, they're saving, and then they reload the save. When you save, it will start you at the entrance of the room that you saved
で
in.
これスキップですね。
In this case, that was at the very bottom. It also saves 2 text boxes. Once again, you can kind of see it's pretty tricky to do that 2-player 1 controller thing.
あ、やっぱりこれあれですよ。
Really
ポポイが仲間になるま
Here,
で
they switch now to the spear. They just received the
この
spear
このま
in
ま
the
で
previous
す。
cutscene, and they will be able to, well, level up the spear to level 1 as well. And that is pretty integral to our strategy. Nice. Also, this area here is kind of special. Most of the time, you can have up to 3 enemies in any given area on the screen at the same time. This screen here is special in that it only has 2. That's why they are going to wait here briefly and then move on, because they want that little rabbi to spawn. For the weapon experience, it does not matter how strong the enemies are, as long as you're not too high level compared to them. So you will gain full weapon experience. If the enemies are lower level than your character, or if other character in your party gets the last hit, you will only receive half the weapon experience. Also, you may have noticed the boys fell down the waterfall at the beginning of the game. Apparently that didn't hurt him particularly much. It didn't even startle him, because I guess cannon travel
でこ
in
こからも
this
ガイアのへそで
world
すね。
is pretty normal.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Yaga,
ラリンレベル上げて
can
ま
I
すね。
break in for a small moment? Because I have
な
a
ぜか当たり判定がある。
$4,500 donation.
Wow.
おー
Go ahead.
It
猫
comes from
ね。
Henry and
ニ
he
キータじゃ
says,
なくて。
Thank you, Dave,
これ
for
バグ
sharing
あり
your
です
story.
ね。
I'm moved to send in what I can do
2%
to
なんで
help this
むちゃくちゃバグ
cause.
使います
Hoping
よ。
this to make some of the incentives much closer to being met. There's $500 left over. Please put this towards the runner's choices. Now, what he put the other $4,000 towards was
で、
showing the
えーっと
VV Kina wedding cutscene in Final Fantasy
物を売っ
IX,
て。
which now sits at $2,717.
はい。もうこれでバグ使ってますね。
He put a bunch of money to fighting Kulex,
あれやり方忘れちゃったな。
which sits
俺もこれ一回昔やったけど。
$3,300 out of $3,500, and he put the he
もうご覧の通りそこバグですよ。
post-run glitch fest for
お金壊れるって。
So we're gonna need new runners' choices off you fellas.
Put my portion towards the Sugoi Mizuki in Shining Force.
そうそう、気楽聖剣です
I'll need to figure
もう
that out.
成
But
金
thank
成
you so
金で
much
すよ
for this huge donation. That is super
Incredible,
generous
yeah,
of you.
absolutely amazing. Okay, cool. So
Thank you so much.
Go for it.
Also, Stinger, may you please explain what you just did there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we just did there at Neko, which is the traveling merchant who has totally overpriced goods, he doubles.
でまあ
the
ガイアの
original
へそのね
costs.
ドワーフのとこ行って
The glitch that we did there to get extra money was known
本
as
当
the
は
black glitch.
本当はもらいたく
What
な
we
かっ
did
たバル
is
ーン
we
ですね
confused the shopping rings menu cursor into thinking that we had a slot with no items selected, and so we sold that slot. And in this game, when you sell nothing, it apparently sells for almost 30,000 gold. Which, if you sell one of those, it is enough money for
こ
the
れ
rest
あれ
of
で
the
す。
run.
寄付
We
の
just sold that
イ
one,
ンセン
and
シブで
then
要は
what we did in the buy
こんだ
menu
け
is we bought two,
寄付があったらこれをやりますよっていう条件を課してるんですね。
ones are very
で
dangerous
その
because they
条
can
件を見
combo
事 まあ寄付が
you. Okay,
Okay.
nice.
届いてるので
But back to the shopping, we bought two of each item for another glitch we're
今
going to do once we get
ポポイ
to
がまだ
Dwarf Village.
ポポイがまだ仲間になってないので仲間になるまでの間
And in
一つの
continuing
コン
with
トローラーを
weapon leveling that
二
we
人で
did
やるっていう
earlier, we just need to get a couple more
だから
goblins
片方が
down here.
十字キーを操作して
And
片方が
And
ボタンを操作するってい
did
う
our, weapon leveling correctly, we should have a level 1 spear at this point. And then this chest contains
うまい
the
です
magic
ね
rope, which has the ability to instantly transport us out of any dungeon. And that's very
もうこれはもう
useful.
必需品ですね
Using that at
魔法の
several
ロープ
points
ね
throughout the run.
でまあこれまた進んでいって
Nice.
まあさっきのね
It's kind of
成
tricky
金
to
バグは
try
多
and
分皆さん
figure out what
知ってる方は
exactly
知っ
is
てるかと
what
思
we're
いま
doing
すが
because,
I don't do what Yaga does.
からですね
because on a baseline, it's just kind of
打った瞬間だっけ打った瞬間に左右を押すと殻が選べるんですよねそれを売ると3万入るっていうバグですねそれでどっかから賄賂仕入れてまあニキータの店で蜂蜜とあとはくるみか魔法のくるみを買ってっていうそういうバグでございます
So it's not really dependent on that, but it'll use it up anyways. But there's two triggers that you need to activate in this town in order to get the next boss to spawn, which also the next boss is Tropicalia. That's when we're going to cut off the name incentive for the sprite.
Awesome.
まあここのボスの条件を今喋ってましたけど
Let me give a quick update on how that stands then, just so we don't have a repeat of the snipe incident.
Yeah, we're about 3 minutes away, a little less than that, so get them in quick.
Yeah, if we can get your last in and we'll
まあ
start.
装備調整してますね
And I'll get that name for you, Stinger.
3
Give
つ
me
買
one
っ
second.
てあいくつ買うんだあこれもまた
Right
バグ
here
する
we're
んか
buying a bunch of extra armor, which is part of the glitch that I mentioned that we're going to be doing here in this town. We bought 2 of each item at Neko earlier, and we're going to do a somewhat of an item duplication glitch.
うん
There's a weird mechanic in this game where if you have a currently equipped item and you put it in the trash can, and you're standing in a very specific spot on the screen, it will reduce certain values in the memory, and with this position on the screen, we are reducing the number of items in each. So if you paid attention, we had 2 of each item, and we reduced them all by 2. That reduces them all down to 0, but it does not cue the game to remove them from our inventory, and so now we have X0 in our inventory for all of those items, and for whatever reason in this game, 0 equals 8. So we have 8 uses of every item that we bought earlier.
When you use your first one, it goes from 0 to 7. So yeah, it is an underflow. If you buy one more, it'll go back up to 1, and then you use one, and it's gone forever. So yeah, the underflow is quite handy.
Indeed.
Which is double. I think you said that. Which is double the amount you can normally hold, which is 4. So
Yeah.
if you go and buy that,
Yeah, you can't hold
あれ
it
な
more
ん
than
だっけ
4 items normally.
デュプリケーションするんだっけ
There's also an extension of that glitch that is not in this category, where you can have multiple of the same items inside your inventory, as in multiple stacks of them, which is also quite interesting to do. It kind of uses the advantage of the blat weird glitched item not being removed the normal way, so to speak.
で金は返します
So, and we are about to start the Tropicalia fight. So,
で
that
トロピカーナ
gigantic
と
fruit
ボス
salad
です
coming
ね
up is a pretty simple fight, all things considered speedrunning wise. All you do is you just charge up your weapon, as mentioned. That is now because we have the sword leveled up to level 1. We can charge it up and it will deal 50% more damage. If we are lucky and do not get any 35 or 36 damage rolls, we will be able to defeat Tropicalia in just 4 cycles. Also, he actually stays up above ground if we hit the... Well, if I didn't mess that up, that is.
That was the same timing, so you should still be fine on getting the cycles to stay the same. But he's going for 2 hits on each cycle, and dodging those bombs is pretty tricky, so that's rather...
1回に2ヒット
It doesn't matter if you get hit by the second one, it's the first one that really matters.
What is one? Hit again.
これはついてない。
The next cycle probably will end it if you get 2 hits on this.
Yeah. もう1回いけるね。
Alrighty. Also, Seeker of Mana, I think, operates on a 4-frame cycle, which means
we get our own controllers again.
I'm doing the first section on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, real quick, you would get a spear or here, you could upgrade your spear to OP as well. We actually don't want that specifically, because you soon see we want the spear only to be at level 1. We will explain that a bit later. But real quick, Seeker of Mana kind of operates at a 5-frame cycle, I believe. And that means it's whenever you take any input, like you attack or you open up the menu, that only happens every 5th frame for your character. And the sprite and the girl are operating on a different frame cycle compared to the boy. Also,
we need a name.
くるみを
Alrighty, so the name for the sprite with
消した分だけ増えるんだっけ
7 up. Number 7 and then UP, and in second place we had Soolajin with $333 and Nami in third place with $100.
SVN up?
No, it's the number. It said the number.
We haven't got the number 7, unfortunately. That'll work.
Yeah, that'll work.
There we go. 7 up.
Instead of Sprite. Well played. Well played.
7 アップ
alrighty, 7 up joined our party.
I had it. I've been having a little competition with Stinger to see if I can actually select myself in before he speaks to the old man.
So yeah, to give you a brief introduction about the co-op play in this game, as you may have noticed, it's an action RPG. It's not turn-based at all, which means each character can do their own thing, just kind of like that. Which means Bowie can now press the start button. You see a
7アップの7がなくていいよねアップでってなったけ
side
ど
of the sprite's avatar icon. And well, now Bowie is controlling the sprite, and that has various advantages and pretty much only few disadvantages. In this case specifically, Bowie now equipped his armor and equipment, so he takes less damage. And also he equipped the spear, so that is a much more convenient weapon to use. Technically he does not have to equip the spear, but it's just so much better overall than the boomerang in as a human player. That's just way better. Also, they went to Watts and got an axe. Now with an axe they will be able to whack away boulders, which you normally are supposed to
で
use
確かこっからね
just
あそこ行くんです
about
よ
in a
もう
minute.
魔女の
We are not going to use it for a
住
while.
みか行くんですよ
You'll see about that.
この
So,
バグ
more
使ってる
importantly,
データ
Stinger now is going to be leveling up the sword, and Bowie is going to support him as best as possible. They want to make sure that the sprite does not get the last hits on the enemies, so the boy always gets the full weapon experience. It does not matter on enemies currently, just
Lower levels.
for the flowers, because the flowers are lower level than this boy anyway, so the sprite can last hit, or the boy, he still gets just half the weapon.
でこれ
And they
水の
also
神
fly
殿に
over
行
to
き
the
ます
War
ね
Palace. So,
あの
what you're
水の
supposed to
神
do
殿の
by
横
the
から
game's logic is just
魔女の森
enter
入れるっ
Elen's
ていうのはご
forest,
存知か
then
と思う
there
ん
you
ですけ
would
ど
fight two werewolves
あそこ
where,
本来
well,
無知
little,
を
the
使わないと
lady
いけ
is
な
a
い
bit
ところ
in
なん
peril,
です
and
が
afterwards she would join your party as
ね
well.
あれは無知を使ってショートカットして戻るっていうのが本来なんですが
That you can only
バグであそこ
really
抜け
use
ます
normally, if you have a whip.
はい
With a
な
whip, you
ので
could just kind of
魔女
jump
の
across
森
the
は
gap
もう
the
無意味
way
で
you
す
are intended to do that. However,
まあ
what
見てい
we
た
are
だ
going
けれ
to
ば
be
わかるん
doing
で
here,
すけど
the boy charges up his weapon to level 1. Then they time the menu, trying to anyways, and the sprite just attacks before the boy releases. They try to time basically just kind of more or less at the same time for the release timer.
ちょっとタイミング合ってないですね
Alrighty, the thing is here is right
これでい
there,
きまし
the
た
boy
ね
can just straight up jump through the wall. While you hit a rope pull with any weapon, For a brief period of time, your cactus would be allowed normally to walk through a wall. Also, AI-controlled cactus that are targeting something just don't care that you cannot normally walk while you hit a rope hole.
メニュー画面を開くときにね、道連れを起こすので、あれそれを使って抜けるっていう。
And we are already in Eleni's castle, completely skipping up the girls, which means I'm not going to be playing in the wild. Actually, that's not entirely true, but you'll see what we are doing there. So, alrighty, now they are rushing through the forest, trying to avoid those werewolves, which are pretty brutal, especially if you play this game casually. You may remember them as being rather vicious creatures trying to defeat them. And here, they are just kind of letting that ice spy spawn 2 enemies.
で、このコロンがね、稼ぎやすいから、とりあえず2セット倒すと。
5 more kills for his weapon experience. I believe at this point he needs just 5 more enemies actually to level up the sword to level 2, which we want to have before the next boss. So trying to hit those walls. By the way, your characters can get combo,
トラを倒すためにポポイのレベルを上げるために5体倒した。
But the enemies can still hit you again, and you instantly get knocked around again. But they got past those walls pretty nicely, so that's good.
Quick question: when you were shopping in the Dwarf Village, you got 8 spiky suits, correct?
Yes.
で、ここはプリムさんが名前がねバグってるんで。もうね、名前がバグってるんですよね、あれ。
In case I mistrash something, yep, we do that. So, alrighty.
とんでもなく長い名前になってますよね。ゴーゴーゴーゴーゴーとか言ってね。
Maybe a little bit of outlook onto the boss. The next boss, casually, it's one of the most brutal bosses, and even if you play this run glitchless, like there's a glitchless category for Seeker of Mana, trying to that's interesting. Trying to defeat the spiky tiger is quite difficult normally.
まあホワイトタイガーここね。
So they try to hit this
みんな苦労するとこですけど。
Without getting hit, there we go. So the
I'll take it. Nice chest drops.
Chest drops are 1 in 16, so 2 times 1 in 16 is 256. So, alrighty. Did you just remove the barrel?
I think you might have removed the barrel somehow there.
You can remove the barrel mid cutscene?
I didn't know that.
これでも名前バグっちゃうんですよね。本来ここでもうプリム合ってるはずなので、普通に行けばね。だからバグってるんですよね、名前が。
As you may notice, we are just kind of communicating in this run. For your reference, ladies and gentlemen, I'm from Switzerland. Mr. Bowie, the hero, is from the UK. And StingerPA here is
from Tennessee.
Yeah, so that's kind of around USA.
I'm fast.
で、まあ樽ですよね。樽使って。
It's going to hit him. It's alright.
Oh,
you swing.
Oh, I did.
It's alright. As long as he just kind of cooperates, it's fine. Just stay there, Bowie.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and now we might see
はい、これでバグ確定ですね。
Just a little bit.
A little. And
はい、終わりました。レベル差を利用したバグですね。
Overcharge glitch. So what we're doing is we have the sword at level 2 and the spear at level 1. By charging up the sword to level 2 and then swapping to the spear using another controller, not the main controller, and then swapping it between the two characters, you're holding onto a level 2 charge whilst I'm holding a level 1 weapon. So basically you're a level higher than the actual weapon will allow, and that is what makes the overcharge like happen and like tick over really fast.
まあ簡単に言うと、
don't worry, she was being evil. Now she's gonna go.
1プレイヤーの方から変えるんじゃなくて、もう一人のサブの方から2プレイヤーの方から交換することによって、ディフェンダー、まあレベル2ディフェンダーですけど、ディフェンダーはレベル2になってるんですけど、スピアの方は、槍の方はレベルが1なので、それを交換することで、必殺技ゲージがオーバーフローしますね。それで必殺技が一発で倒せると。でね、ディラックの声が聞こえるっつってんだけど、プリムさんいないんですよね。
And that is amazing if you have the opportunity for anything like that. I just can highly recommend it. And on top of that, every single time you move through a
でもこ
screen
こはも
transition,
う
almost every
来た
single
道を
time,
戻ると
you
いうだけ
actually
です
have
ね。
one character with two human players who can move slightly early compared to the other characters. So I think you might be able to see it here, right here.
I don't think you can
Not quite.
because it traps you on that
あ
telephone.
あ、そうか。一人
Okay,
用の必
but,
殺バグもあ
I
りま
think
したね。
probably on when going outside. Also, this is the a normal way how to get across those rope holes.
これが
You
一
essentially
般
equip
的
the
な
whip,
ね、
then
脱
you
出の
gather your party on
終わり
that
方
rope
ですね。
pole spot, so to speak. Then you hit a rope pole, and it trumps you in the direction you're facing.
もう完全にプリムさん用なしですからね、これ。
Moving slightly early, which is
でね、もう
extremely
問
useful
答
to
無
just
用で、
kind of gain, I don't know,
パッ
half
ク
a
ンド
minute,
ラ
a
ゴン
minute
倒し
over
に
the
行きま
course
す
of
ね。
the run, just like that. Also, once again, if you missed it the first
Hi.
time, the bow is going to charge up the spear to level 1, switch over to the sword, which instantly is then on level 2. So the spear, which the game completely
で同じ
confuses
こ
it,
とします
and
ね。
then we release the attack.
あとはちゃんと当てに行くだけっていう。
So the Tonpole's a weird one where he starts in this like larval state or kind of like baby state, and then if you hit him enough, he becomes the Tonpole. But we just
だから
completely
コープは基本
bypass that
これ
by
があるん
wiping
で
out
ク
all
ソ
the
早
enemies
い
in
ん
one
ですよ
go.
ね。
This is fun.
Easier.
All right.
で、会話スキ
So
ッ
what they
プ。
just did there is, whenever you use a magic rope,
あ
it
会話
brings
スキ
you
ップ
back
じゃ
to
ない
the
わ。
exit
会っ
of
た
the
瞬間に
area,
使うことで
but
入り口
the
に戻るん
sprite
だ。
and the girl can still move during. So they used it early to save about, I don't know, a quarter of a second or so.
I think it's up to 1 second if you do it
これなんだっ
perfectly.
け？
Wow.
Completely
alright.
worth it. Completely worth it.
Yeah, basically just use the magic rope early and then just run the sprite into the cutscene trigger for talking to Andini. Which, by the way, we are here because we freed Andini, the water, the mana spirit of water, that way around, and she will grant us healing
魚
spells
みんな
for
こ
the
っち見
lady
て
who
る。
is not in our party, and well,
これなんだっけ？
offensive
これす
spells
る
for
理由
the
はあった
sprite,
んだっ
which we
け？
will be needing in order for us to get into the next area, in fact. So the sprite spellcasts are mostly offensive oriented, and there are certain barriers in the way in this game where you need to cast a spell onto a orb, or I'm not entirely sure what you call that. Essentially, whenever you cast spells on that thing, it will open up the path there. So also because this is a marathon run, we do use a fair
で
few
もこれで
saves
ま
and
た
saves. You may not have noticed it earlier on Gaia's novel.
まあガイアのへそに
Yeah,
行って、
that's the thing. Also,
あとは
kind of
あれ
sometimes
か
the question comes up in
土の神殿に行くんですね。
Hey, don't a lot of speedruns run on the Japanese version? Why don't you run on the Japanese version?
Good question. The Japanese version is notoriously well known for soft locking on a lot of bosses and having a lot more kind of slight bugs in some of its development.
Indeed.
That causes it to just crash randomly, unfortunately.
日本の
This
じゃ
here
や
can
ら
still
ないのは
crash,
クラッシュ
but
するからっ
not
つって
nearly as bad. Once had a race on the Japanese version. How many times did we soft lock?
I don't remember, but it was 15 or 16 or something like that.
Yeah, hasn't. But often we just kind of defeated a boss and couldn't continue. By now we actually have a good idea as to how that happens and why that happens, so we could avoid
海
it.
外版は
But you can kind of imagine
あのセレクト
actually
バグ
just
ないん
playing
で
this
すよ
game and soft locking all the time. Yeah, that's not so much fun. Also,
話聞いてると
sometimes we do unselect characters, so the sprite is
いい
currently
です
AI
ね
controlled, and that's because the sprite can move here
そうヒロイ
already.
ン不在で
If
す
Bowie manually would have casted the spell himself, this would for a while. So we just kind of take advantage of AI control characters also being able to do things that human players can't. But most of the time, AI control characters are just kind of notoriously not so good. Also, as a
エ
note,
ニーパーだと
this
ヒロインはいらないんですよね
game, a lot of people have really fond memories of playing this co-op with their siblings, with their friends, with a lot of people, and so do I.
まあそうだねまたやろう2人
It does feature 3 characters, trust me. I just kind of skipped one of them.
もう基本的にボスの倒し方
Yes,
が
indeed.
全部これですからね
It-
基
it's
本
essentially, normally on a Super Nintendo, you can only connect up to 2 controllers. There is a device we currently have connected that is officially supported by Super Nintendo that is called a multi-tap for selecting up to 3 characters at the same time here. There are also some multi-tap shenanigans we could
だからあ
do.
の普通にやるとみんな苦労するやつがもうあっさり終わるんですよね
Since you can't do those
ヒロ
kinds
イン
of things on virtual consoles. And there's
ヒロイ
also
ンなんていなか
a
ったんや
different route for with multi-tap that is kind of
Sorry, just really 3.5.
3.4, and then if you don't get that go for 4.2.
Look, back there. どっから声が聞こえんねんつって。
So I just let those two communicate.
で、オーバーフローしまして、たまりました、切りました、さようなら。
Now, I will be handing it off to Yagamoth.
Sweet.
Okay.
I get to play. Yay!
So at this point, Stinger will drop.
基本ボスはみんなこれで倒しますよ。
And then Yagamoth will come in.
僕はレスラーみたいに。
I'm the little one.
それその次や。
Yagamoth loves playing the sprite. It was
そ
my
の次
character
のゲー
as
ム
well
だから。
when I was younger too. So. Okay, so there we go.
Alright. Now in the top right of the avatar is the sprite 3. Also, same.
And again, we're doing the magic rope glitch again. We're talking to Gnome this time instead of Undine. So it puts us back at the start of the Underground Palace, and you might be thinking
あとちなみにですけ
that
ど
we have
あ
to
の
go back
左の
into
人
that
で
route
す
to
ね
seal the monoseed anyways, but actually we don't.
あの
All you have to
100%
do
のスピードランとかやってましたよ
to advance the story is, talk to Gnome, and then
あ
the
の
next door
全部のアイ
trigger
テ
in
ム集め
Pandora
て
opens up. So they can just
あの
do
ドロップアイ
this
テムを全部集めて
and not go to the
100% をやってましたよ
How's that? So,
Not this one.
なんかの記念かなんかで
so now they can just leave Guy's navel and proceed on, and
エッチだなだな
nothing really is bothered from that. As Yaga mentioned earlier, there are some actual mechanics involved with the monoseeds, with the damage formula and everything. But since we have access to the overcharge glitch, those are relatively meaningless for us because we do as much damage as we want anyways.
だからあの左に座ってるのがヤガモスっていう人なんですけど、あの人が本当やばいっすよ。聖剣2に関してはマジでやばいっす。
That might be faster.
We'll be making our way through this. We might have time for just one or two.
やり込み度が尋常じゃないんで。
Oh, I have quite a few. Starting with the ones that came in right towards the beginning of the run, I've got Kalini83, $10 with a simple Bowie hype. Zelly F, $10. Hey everyone, this is me fighting the stigma. I have autism spectrum disorder as well as a case of ADHD-C.
あ、そっか、
I can work a full-time job and I can even speedrun 10-hour games.
あれか、
Even
ジ
if
ン
I
行く
don't
の
finish
か。
those runs very often.
忘れちゃったよ。
If
ジン
you
行く
have
んだ
an
よね。
issue, seek help. You either need help
使徒の
with
ジン
either
行くんだよ
family
ね。
or online or call someone. If anyone has severe ADHD in adulthood, it is a problem. Don't let people tell you otherwise.
パメラが
This
消えた。
donation goes to the Dragon Quest Monsters Runner's Choice of Game, which we'll make sure to get from that.
パメラが消えたけど、それを言ってるやつがいない。
I know it inspired our big donation earlier, but a big thanks to Ron.
真ん中いねえよ、真ん中。真ん中いねえぞ。
$20 to Dave's Choice. $100 from Bannon. Big shout out to my friend Bannon. You guys are doing amazing work. Much love to everybody involved. Lingle DE, $25.
パメラがね。
Happy to donate towards such an important
そうそう。
cause.
もうね、エニーパは意味がわからないんですよ。話がめちゃくちゃですから。
Thankfully, it's been met.
Watch
Thanks
out,
to all the
気をつけ
staff
ろ。
and runners for making this such a great viewing experience.
そうそうそう。
You may have seen as well that actually in that previous cutscene, the
なんでそういう風に名前になるのかね。
but she kind of wasn't. But you still saw her actions taking place. So she would get angry at the guard, and she kind of kung fu kicks them out of the way. But
まあ正直もう一発目で戦闘ボスの戦闘決まっちゃうんで、ただこなしていくだけなんですよね、これね。
Because we skipped her, we never actually named the girl, and it completely skips the naming dialogue. So whenever the game encounters a cutscene or tells its name, the only entry it has in there in the hexadecimal is FFFFFF. And somehow it translates to go 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 go.
16進法で FFFF になるんで、名前が55555になるらしいです。
The girl skip we did earlier, it saves at least a minute outright, but then we lose about 20 more seconds just due to the name being that long.
これね、名前が長すぎるせいで20秒ぐらい遅れるっていう累計。
I did the numbers on it was around.
Alright.
It might have changed with the number of text boxes that are in the run now. I'm not entirely sure. Okay. But special note about this boss. Starting from here, all but one boss has an evade stat. So a lot of people
溜まってますね。
playing the game growing up might have noticed that the game has really bad hitbox detection, but it really doesn't. It's actually very good at detecting when you hit something. It just sometimes decides to not let you hit it, and there's zero indication of whether you did or not. We're pretty good at knowing if we actually hit something or not, just because we know what the hitboxes are. We're experienced at what works, what doesn't work.
もうね、あんま説明することがないんですよ。もうバグこれほとんど全てですから。正直ほとんどこれで全てですからね、バグ。
62 or 63% chance to hit him, and it goes up from there as the characters level up. Specifically, the boy, he's the one attacking.
バグについてはもうほぼで完成ですからね。
Also, you may have noticed that I kind of was waiting behind there before we entered the cutscene before the boss. The reason for that is if you enter certain cutscenes at the exact same time with two controllers active, the game crashes.
And not just stuff like a full hard crash.
Yes. If you play this on emulator and try to load a save state, it doesn't work. It's ridiculous. So, also, we run through Pandora. The Pandora fields, I feel like
2つね、2つコントローラーつないでて、セレクトバグみたいなああいうバグをすると、ロムがぶっ壊れるらしいんで、やるの実機でやるのはやめようねっつってました。エミュレーターなら安全だからいいけどねとか言って。
We'll figure it out later. Yeah, all right. Quatropus with $5 says, "Mad respect for the man who spoke before the secret of Mana Run, because I myself have been in that situation and still struggle. It's great to know that there are so many people within, like those with Nami and the others who have gone through the same. I absolutely love the speedrunning community. That being said, I wish the couch best of luck."
多分マジであともう言うことないです。あとストーリー言っていくだけなんで。
Also, I need those perlers. And,
本気であとストーリーこなすだけなんでもう何も言うことないんですけどどうしたらいいですか。
I have $8 from Zokrestu. Hey, Secret of Mana community, Zokrestu here. Good luck on this amazing run.
デスマシーン君とやり合うわけですが。
Community is the best in the world. Deal with it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bregan gives me $25 and says, "Thank you, RPGLB2017, and all of the streamers for supporting such an important cause."
もうね、面白いとこ終わりましたので。
Best of luck to Bowie, Yagamoth, Stinger, and a special shout out to Magus lurking behind them. Much love from Bregan. You're getting some love here, Magus. Like, he's just like, yeah, of course I am.
RPG の冒頭。
Have you met me? Like.
ね、あともうスイッチして2まで貯めて戻してオーバーフローで終わり。
So here we're fighting Kilroy, just like the wall boss. He has an evade stat. That first attack was dodged. Also, they got a low damage roll, which
避けられましたね最初。
But fortunately, they were able to get it. Oh, nice. They also got the whiteout skip. This is a special glitch that you can do in only a few boss battles.
多分するんじゃないですかね。
If you step on the event tile that enters this room at the same frame that the whiteout is supposed to start for the boss, it completely skips the whiteout, and it saves about
これ
1 or 2 seconds.
これもバグで同じフレームで何？同じフレームでなんかすると止まる動作が全部カットされるっていう。
Yeah, it also skips the restoring of characters' HPs after the boss, which can actually influence a couple routes. Not for this category, but if you do that, you lose certain status effects that are actually beneficial.
でもあれですね。妖精の森行っちゃいますね。あ、違う水か。水が先か。ごめんなさい。
Very fun boss here, who's actually one of the most destructive in the run if he gives us bad RNG.
He's hoping.
コントローラーに入れてる人はちょこちょこ交代してますね。
Certain string of attacks that he can do before we're able to attack him. That if
とりあえずポポイが仲間になるまではまあ2人でワンコントローラーっていう 面白い企画になってましたけど、もう終わったので普通に2人プレイですね。でもほとんどのバグはもう説明終わってしまったのでで帝国が来てゲシュタルさんが話せっつってね、うんたらかんだらでゲシュタルさんが相手してやろうとか言ってやるんですけど、まあ特に悩む必要もないですよね。やること同じなんでオーバーフロー起こして終わりなんでわざ外してますね。
And we use a system of numbers and decimals to try and just determine what attack we're going to use at certain points. So we know what animations are going to come out of
綺麗にやっつけるよな。
possible spot on the overcharge meter.
So I'm going to tap out here and I'll let Stinger back in and Yagamoth until we get to the section in which the girl joins and the full 3-player 3-controller will begin.
Indeed. Also, I earlier alluded to a little bit of some multi-tap shenanigans. I'm going to demonstrate that real quick here after we talk to the mana seat from the side because we don't need to walk up the stairs.
You talk to her?
Yes. So I have currently the third controller connected. I talk to Luca here and then I disable the multi-tap but because it does have a switch on it which you can activate and deactivate. Basically it tells the Super Nintendo whether there are more than 2 controllers connected at a time or not. And so in this case, I just kind of told it that it only has 2 controls connected, then set it back to 3. What that does is, for Seeker of Mana, it has programmed in that in case you have a third character active, as in the third controller, but the multi-tap is disconnected, it will automatically reassign the characters back to being AI controlled. What that means is, in certain cutscenes, like the one just before, we were able to just kind of walk around and walk towards the exit. So originally this only just kind of saved about, I think, about half a minute or so over the course of the run. And it was kind of convenient in quite a few places in order to be able to do that. In this case, I unfortunately discovered a way to skip a certain section in a different way that involves getting a chest drop.
マルチタップを使ってコントローラー2コンから3コンに差し替えてやるとなんつったらいいんだこれ。こういうふうに会話で移動が会話移動ができると。
We got that in our practice, but yeah. So we're going into our next section here. This is the Upperland Forest. It's got a small, quick. Oh, actually, that landed.
で、四季の森ですね。
To kind of get through, and potentially the most annoying screen of the game. We have to fight 3 pebblers here. So the pebblers have taken over the Moogle village. So we're going to be charging up. We're going to be looking for either for a 2.4 or a 4.2.
まあここも普通にやるとめんどくさいので。
So yeah, there we go. Which is the
レベル6か、もともとは。
Almost one shot.
Yeah, so the pebblers have as much. Oh, he did dodge there again. They have as much of a
避けるね。あのモールベア強いよ。あのモールベア強いよ。
Also, one of the things we do a fairly bad job of reminding everybody when we do our charge attacks, we do a menu buffer to actually retain the same charge attack so we don't have to constantly set up the overcharge again and again. We retain the exact same charge and it allows us to reuse it
夏から秋行って秋から冬に行って春に戻ると。
So I think a 3.1 can either be a regular hit or a level 2 charge, which makes it very volatile. Level 3, so it's very volatile.
で、イベントフラグが立ちますんで、妖精の村に行くと。で、I'm back! 戻ったんで、あれ村がつってね。
It's 7 up actually. 7 up, sorry. 7 up. And this is a very, very trolly boss. It is a bird, so we have our resident
これもワンパンで終わりっていう悲しいな。
So he doesn't have a hitbox. Well, he does have one, but it's on the back of his head, like at the back of the hair, which again is right there, but it missed because of his dodge chance.
ああ、避けられましたね、2回。
That was a nice fight.
2回避けられましたけど、まああっさり終わりましたね。
So normally you want to kind of like go after the enemy as you see it, but there's a particular point where he has like a kind of guard hitbox, and that kind of starts from his beak. But
もう普通にやってる人からすると、もうこの辺えってなりますけどね。多分ね。もう基本これですからね、進行が。でまあ仲間にするときね、じっちゃーんってね。
I tend to just kind of try to stay close with my characters and with the little sprites to bosses, so I get targeted by them. And in this case,
バグしかないんで、もうエニーパーってバグ祭りなんで。
Also worth noting, in boss battles, your
まあ大体僕がもう俺が知ってることはもう全部やっぱりやってましたっていうね。だから俺も知らないのがボスのやつとか。ボス撃破後の処理を同時にすることができるとか、あれは知らなかったですけどね。
Let's see here. We have $10 from Brosef 303 that just says go 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 go.
That was a nice strat.
And then we have $25.
まああとはもうプレイヤーとしては多分変わんないと思います。ヤガモスとスティンガーがトップなんでね。世界1位なんで、エニーパーのコープが。
And I decided to put that to the same as Bowie, the Shining Force. What was it that you wanted about the Segoe?
It's called. It's a secret outfit for one of the mages.
Yeah, I put mine towards.
まあおそらくこれでこのまま行くんじゃないですかね。
Silktail there can be quite trolly. He does like to attack quite early. Some enemies have a strange sense of aggression. So trying a new movement.
であとはマタンゴ族の村行くのか。これからね。またもストーリー通りですからね。
They have really long reach.
So you can just kind of skip a lot of the. Normally, what you do in 1P2C, you'd kind of because the way to move optimally is to dash with one character, swap to another with select, and then dash in an opposite direction. But they're always a little bit behind. By having players consistently stay up with each other, it's quite clean. Yagamoth there.
だからもう説明することないんだけど。
In some bigger areas like Tango here, the village of the
バグ全部やっちゃったから。
It actually increases more lag if you are moving, or if you have multiple inputs going on. And now mashing select to kind of swap between the characters, and as the AI, as you're pushing down, the AI kind of lets them go through NPCs, slowly pushes you through, and you can skip that entire section.
許可なく普通に通っていきますね。
Basically, AI control characters are allowed to walk through NPCs. We take advantage of that.
そうこれ聖剣2って見てれば分かるバグばっかりですから言うことがない。
That's a rude guy. I'm just gonna use this.
Yeah. And a silence.
You can deal with it.
There's a really cool thing that this game allows you to do. I say cool, it's maybe slightly somewhat glitchy. So you can stack animations on top of each other. So if an enemy uses magic on you, like Silence coming in here, it's possible to deal with it. You can actually like stack a curative over, say, the thunderbolt that came down, and you wouldn't take any damage. You just get the curative and go. This is important for boss fights that can kind of one-shot our characters, and we use it to kind of keep ourselves going. It's even more time off.
今、回復のキャンセルの説明してますね。ダメージもらう瞬間に回復使うことでダメージを受けないっていう、まあ皆さんよく使ったであろうことをやってなんか説明しておりますね。
So Sting is going to run down enough to scroll the camera because player 1 scrolls the camera, and then Yaga is going to use his magic rock slide on all of them, which will activate that mana orb and break some rocks below, so we can make our way forward. But yeah, you'll see a lot of item stacking or animation stacking to keep.
Don't worry about it.
I might need to go through the menu anyways.
まあ VV 層の増殖とかもね、それが狙いでヘビーですね。
So yeah, this is the first boss with more than 1000 HP. Maximum damage you can deal in one swing is 999.
まあここからもう一発じゃ倒せない
yes.
敵ですね。
One more.
Yep.
もうこのヘビさんから HP が1000超えるんで
I think it'll be fine.
It's one hit.
It'll be fine.
Okay, I'm going to barrel you, so. Again.
Buffer. Never mind.
Ooh, he dodged.
What? He dodged.
Okay, so a very, very close chance. So basically, you can. This is one of the few enemies that doesn't.
This guy. You need to use another.
これはだいぶ事故だな。
I'm going to be dead. Oh, never mind.
あ、成功した。
So yeah, wow.
Eh?
What are you doing, Great Viper? You haven't taken
す
any
げえな。
damage, I don't think.
あのヘビさんになかなかやるやん。
So the Viper doesn't actually have any evasion. Actually, he's hittable unless he's on a mushroom. If he's on a mushroom, you can't hit him, which is why you heard the ting sound. I don't know why I had to say sound really high pitch as well, but ting sound. So when you hear that sound, you know that what's happened is that you've hit a defensive box. So that's what you would hear.
ちょっと一瞬ヒヤッとする事故がありましたが、
etc. etc. So
無事できましたね。
but we got through it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
He actually does not cast Gem Missile particularly often, and now 3 times in a row. That's
Well, supposedly he doesn't cast it often.
yeah. Well, I know it. I tend to fight him for quite a while sometimes.
So
Right,
the
これで
optimal
フラ
way to
ミー
do
さん
that is
発
what they
見で
were
ござ
trying
い
to-
ま
It
す。
just kind of slightly got off. It's very, very hard. If you hit Great Viper, he'll stop. Now, what is possible to happen is after the initial hit from the overcharge glitch comes out, Yaga would want to time a single swipe to keep him in place. If he's too early or if he's too late, Great Viper will continue moving, and that's when it gets tricky because of that 4 mushroom formation on the corner where they're set. So hopefully it's a hit to stun lock and then one more hit to keep him in place and then unleash the final one. But
ね、まあ
if he decides to troll
ここまではここからもバグです。そうです。バグだらけです。
The gem missiles increases the difficulty of that battle.
Indeed. So, also, we just kind of found some weird little companion. Who is that?
He's a beautiful white
いや、
dragon.
聖剣2ですか。
This is how it's spelled with 2 M's, but I say flaming, so don't ask. So again, deactivating. So flamey is a
そう、もう一人いないですからね。
and he was just found randomly in that cave with a snake. King Truffle of Matango decided that he'd look after Flamey and
そもそも一人いない時点でおかしいですからね。
Because obviously we have a job to do. We've got to go and save Mana, the whole world. So off we go. So we're going to leave Flamey in charge of
で、次が、カッカラ砂漠ですね。
of King Truffle, and then we're going to make our way to our next set of areas to get our next two Mana Seeds. I say 2 Mana Seeds. One.
Just one.
Just one.
There are 2 dungeons, but there's 1 Mana Seed. Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
2 dungeons.
because we don't have to.
Oh, yeah.
we didn't do that
I think
either.
that's a lot more well known that you can just skip stealing the wind seed.
そうですね。引っかからないですからね。2人プレイとか3人プレイやると。一切引っかかんないですからね。
Oh,
It's okay.
Close enough.
So yeah, as we said, whoever activates the screen change, where there is a musical change,
大体
the person who
聖
didn't do
剣
it
2の一人プレイの欠点は
Yagamoth was very, very kind to move out and then move back. Because if
ど
he moved out too far, the
ヒロインする
that would added some time.
ヒロインは出てきません。 残念。
Move the gameplay forward, but Yaga's going to hold up. Which, whilst that cutscene is happening, the
あ、
hero
終わ
should
り
move
ま
further
した
to
ね。
the right. But because of that, it kind of keeps these 2 locked, which
お
allows
ー、ここ
Yagamoth to
で
run straight right, top right, and then go straight through that.
で、
And we find a ship.
船
The
に乗
door
ると
appears in the sand. Don't ask.
Makes total sense to me.
Yeah, yeah. And then we get caught by. I don't even know what they are. What is? Do these guys have names? Because there's like the Scorpio Gang. There's the Empire. There's
This is the Republic.
oh,
The Republic sand ship.
Republic sand ship. Oh.
Right.
I actually knew that. You know.
ね、共和
Never even
国
thought
の
about it. I was
船の
like,
方
there's
に
a sand ship. Great. So yeah, they put us to work and
で仕事
take
を
us
しろ
right
と。
and the girl away. So this is the beginning, I'd say, of the 3v3C game.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You have to speak to Sergo
ここま
twice.
で
You
1時
can,
間ですからね。
sometimes if you're actually hard enough on B, you can actually speak to him. Like,
早
away
い
from
よ
him.
ね。
It isn't really any helpful to
そう
it.
いう言い方も見さず連
Any
帯
better, it's just-
そういうことに
So
な
we
る
speak
よ
to
ね
him twice, which means that he'll cause a distraction and say fire, so you can get out. We're gonna go.
そうエンディングでは出ますけどね。
Good.
やべえ。
Uh,
マイコー並みにすげえよ今の。
we're gonna go and check out the sprite. So Yagamoth, tap in.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, the sprite is going to join you here. They decided to put the sprite into the kitchen, which I feel like is a terrible idea considering he ate all the food apparently. And now I can finally join again.
序盤終わったぐらいですか。
Kind of playing, but soon enough, you will see the
Michael Jackson eat your heart out.
マイケル・ジャクソン
you'll
の
see the character who
ね
may
ムーンウォー
not
クを
have
して
been
いくっていう。
well having up until now.
Rats have eaten all the food. So 7-Up
まあ
with his,
内容的にはこの後
And also the smile here.
すべてのマナの趣旨のところ
And
に
then we
行
meet
っ
the
て
girl who we've never met before.
はいここでね
but apparently she's going to just force her way
とうとう
involved
会い
into
ま
our
す。
party.
Yes. Conveniently enough, we actually don't get to name her because
こ
if
こ
we
で
did
やっ
get to
と
name her, well, the nice thing
出て
is
き
it
ま
would
す。
take less time in cutscenes because of its name. But the bad thing is we would actually lose out on her spells that
そう
we
こ
currently
こ
have.
ここからね
We currently have
こ
three
こから
elements
やっ
that
とですよ
is。water, wind, and earth. She would actually no longer have those
うんそう
if
だこ
we
こ
were to name
そう
her.
出てくるんだね。ごめんね間違えま
So
し
we're
た。
going to
透明じゃなかった。
I'm
I'm
going
not
to
going to move.
I'm going to tap
名前入力がないで
Okay,
す。
I got it.
Okay, cool. So, I once did a co-op run with this chap here.
名前入力のチャンスは
Right there, an hour in. That was
ゴブリンの
a
と
fun run. So, you
ゴ
can
ブリン
hard
の
look again
時
by
に
activating that particular one. I'm gonna
ゴブリンか。ゴブリンの村で
As
ラ
you
ン
may
ディが
notice, the lady
煮物に
is
され
now
てる
also
時
part of
と
our party, and she is level 1
ポポに
before
仲間に
5
して直
and
で
she will gain a
魔女の
little
森行
bit,
った時
few
に
levels
プリ
here
ム
and
が
few
捕まっ
HP
てるのを助ける
that are
時だ
going
け
to
で
be
すよ
quite
ね。
helpful to survive through the next area.
あの2回しか名前を入れるチャンスがないので、それ以外で
We made it.
プリムが出る
But
条
also
件
note
が
on that
揃うと
boss is that was
さっき
the
みたいな
final
名前になる
boss
と。
with less than 1,000 HP. So every boss from here on out will take at least
そうです。まあ本当まるで知り合いですよね。今までいたかのような。
Yes. Also, we were kind of lucky to just kind of one shot him and unselect. So, in towns, you may have noticed we did already do that a bit earlier in Matango. I unselected the sprite in order to reduce lag, as Bowie already pointed out. And this is especially important on towns with 3 characters. It generates even more lag. And yeah, I'm just going to be usually tapping in and out of my character in order to, well, not like the screen as much. That's the general idea. Also here, we finally get new equipment. The lady didn't have any equipment in the first place, so she just equips it. And basically, Bowie will just kind of distribute the equipment between all characters and then tap down. Nice. And
yeah. I've played this
Cast
game.
a spell.
I've played this game for like 25 years, and I don't know which way to go. Still, I don't know why.
yes, it's actually kind of difficult to figure out where to go on which menu.
Yeah, especially when we're trying to menu so
でこれ
quickly.
で
We don't usually try to take the time
ア
to
イスセイ
remember
バーを初めから
what
かけ
menu
る。
we were in. We go off what we think we were in.
And it's also kind of muscle memory to know which way. I mean, I know it's
あれ名前なんだっ
weapon
け？
items, magic if you have it, and then stats.
ここなんだっけ名前。
Indeed.
Just trying to immediately go, oh yeah, it's that one. When you see it, it's kind of.
Mhm.
名前忘れちゃっ
Okay,
た。
well, real quick, we did get frost weapons against frost wolves, I guess. The interesting thing about it is frost weapons are not actually frost elemental, they are still neutral element. But the useful thing is we turn
まあ
enemies
基本
into
的にこれ
happy
で
little
すね
snowmen.。
アイスセイバーの意味
Also,
はもう
that's
これ
what it
で
is.
すね。
The wolves are super vicious and really quick to hit you, and you absolutely want to avoid
雪
that.
だるまにし
Getting
て
knocked to the floor,
その
which,
間
by
に抜
the
けるっ
way,
ていうのがもう基
you
本
get
ですね。
knocked
もう
down
こ
to
れ
the floor if you take more than 25% of your health in damage. And what that means is essentially you do recover for
そう
a
です
lot longer. It costs you a few seconds. The enemy
で
can
も
mess
中
with
盤
it
に
more.
来てるところ
And
ですけ
that
どね。
turtle is just kind of sometimes there.
おう
Ninja turtle.
忍者ター
So,
ト
that's what we are doing here. And
や
up
ばい
here we
わ。
have the next boss fight already. One thing
TMNT がいたわ。
that I really like about this game is
で
it's a
ボ
boss
スの
rush, really.
ボスの時間です
Extremely fast on how you get from boss to boss to boss to boss. In a regular speedrun, if you're doing well, you don't actually even get
はい、オー
to
バーフローします
heal
殴
normally.
りま
Like you
す
just literally heal because you kill the next boss. That's interesting.
Okay.
You got hit by the ram.
Nice.
Alright,
Okay.
there we go.
I'm
So,
down.
also, Bowie there just got deliberately killed. Don't worry, that was actually no accident. So the reason why Bowie just got killed there is because we do not want the
終わり
lady
です
to
ね。
have too much health for a later skip. It is a micro optimization. It really doesn't save more than just about, I don't know, 5-6 seconds later. But it's not a mistake, just to let you know. Also, upcoming, we do have
あっさり終わる
a
ボ
bit
ス
of a sequence break. Normally, you're supposed to go into the Ice Palace, get the Mana Seed of Fire from there that Santa actually stole. I'm not
であ
even
と
kidding.
はここで
And
サラマンダーがいるので
we
サ
are
ラ
just
マ
kind
ン
of
ダー
not
を
going to
解
do
放
that.
し
The
ま
best
す
way to explain this is according to this cutscene. We just skipped the first step of this cutscene sequence where we were supposed to step onto the podium. The guy says, "Hey, I need to go for a little guide. Could you pay attention to the stove?" So no one opens it. Instead, we just kind of talk to a random NPC and open the stove directly without interacting with that guy first. So the entire cutscene sequence is always a step behind. Salamander Joint is the fire element, and now he appears as he is about to supposed to be disappearing. Now we're talking with the Scorpion army on the right
比
side.
較してはいけないってやつ
And as soon as they are walking away, they are actually
で
going to
火の
appear.
種子
But
がね
everything
こ
is
の
just kind
先
of
にある
messed
って
up.
いう話をまあ
Yeah, so,
聞くんですよね
Yeah. The reason we could skip the initial podium cutscene trigger was because the text box from the NPC was up. That's kind of why that was possible. This guy's going to be here. Yeah. So by allowing us to do that, we can
なんだっ
skip
け
that
フローズン
particular
キャッスルだっ
animation
け
and
名前しちゃった
ban
な
that trigger, and then we can continue it going on.
あでも行かないんか
as Yaga said, you'd initially be, go straight to Kakara, and then you go to the Fire Palace, find out you can't access the.
先にカッカレ行って火の神殿ですね
Gone. You have to come back here, stop Santa Claus. Yes, Santa Claus. The mana seed basically corrupted him and turned him into Frost Gigas, but we don't have to fight Frost Gigas or Gigas. And then you get the seed back, and then you come all the way back to Kakara, and then you do it that way. But by getting Salamander's powers, we're allowed to actually kind of make our way through the Fire Palace, which is very, very nice. And because there's a few mana orbs we need, and then basically there's a particular trigger that we're going to
まああとはストーリー進行を着々と進めるだけなのでまあストーリーの展開を言っていくだけになります
as well. So normally at
で
the
今
beginning
か
of
ら
the Fire Palace, I'll just kind of explain this now.
カッカラ村から
Supposed to go left and down the stairs.
カッカラ村だっけあれ
When you go downstairs, that's kind of like
ここ
the
から火の
beginning
神
of the
殿に
trigger,
向かって
that stops you, that kind of
火の
stuff. Oh,
神
the seed's
殿
been
のに
stolen.
置いてある火の種子からマナのパワーをもらうと
So, to explain this real quick, I'm just going to hold up and I don't need to do anything. Bowie just casted heal on everybody. Now the Stinger is going to
で
distribute
これ
barrels onto everybody.
重複させてどんどん起動することで
We are unstoppable. Basically, that is a ramp that is
ダメー
supposed
ジ
to
受けず
push
さっ
you
さとい
down
けると
when you walk across it. But because we had barrels equipped and were getting healed, for some reason, whenever you have a barrel equipped and you get healed or damaged for that matter, you will just kind of continuously slide in that one direction. You're currently holding that direction, and it does not check whether you're supposed to get pushed down by the ramp. So that is the ramp skip, way more convenient than what we used to do earlier. You may have seen earlier
でさっ
runs
き
in
の樽かぶっ
previous
てヒールウォーター使ってやるのを今説明してますね
You may have seen runs there, and this is way more convenient than what we used to do. Also here, another little skip. Might not even notice. So, I'm going to cast a spell.
I'm going to hold left.
And Stinger is going to hit the rope hole. And he walks through
うわうまっ
So the way that works
あんなスラッとされるとえってなるんだけどあんなにうまくできないんですけど
Normally, if you stand next to it with the whip equip, the kind of the event to move you all and whip across takes place. But if you regularly attack a rope pole itself, an event takes place, which kind of gets
今のスキップあれですね
So by casting
フリーズ使う魔法を使って無知を使うことによって今の無知使う違う魔法を使った瞬間に無知を離すことで 1-0 起こすんですねそれであそこ本来は移動がめんどくさいところ全部スキップですねで終わりですでいつもの通りオーバーフローの必殺技を打って終わり
Like just kind of when they are casting a spell, your characters are invulnerable when casting spells, but
インチキ
so
ば
are
っかり
most
です
of the enemies for that matter. And we just kind of try to play around those.
I'm gonna let you guys do this one because I'm a little bit unsure on this one myself.
もう盛大にバカしかしてないですからね
This trick is kind of similar to what we've done before with the Undying skip and the Gnome skip, but I'm not as confident in this timing.
You just press the B button as soon as you
で
step onto
種
this.
子を放っ
And
た
well,
と
you attract
同
to
時
see
に
at the entrance of the palace while you're
放
already
った
outside.
と同時に魔法のロープが使われるので戻った瞬間にマナの共鳴が起きてそのまますぐ帰れるっていう
Something like that.
for those of you who kind of play this game casually and know the issues with the AI pathing at times,
やりたい放題だよこれ。
distance that you can get apart before it all kind of works.
本当やりたい放題。
Incredibly satisfying about the whole kind of like Autobots rollout style of just kind of going for it in one big chunk.
でこれで火の種子のマナ共鳴終わったんでまた戻りま
I'm
す。
going to stay selected for this next screen because again we're going to get to a new screen where the music might change a little bit, which will allow me to move.
戻るんじゃないんだっけ？どこ行くんだっけ？
And then we'll let Stinger get through the majority of the
今3つ目だ。3つ目どこだっけ？ 結構間違えててすいませんね。
Also, can travel bosses down.
Yeah. That is our last kind of, yeah, it is our last kind of trouble, yeah. The amount of time.
あ、もうこっち来るのか。
That's not okay.
So yeah, this is actually a skip that was, I think, you Stinger started to actually implementing that by
もうこっち来ちゃうんだ。
the wall.
サウスタウン。
The way this works is that it works on your movement position. You either move 2 pixels per frame while dashing or while walking, and 1 dashing. And I've got
that is actually basically 50-50 for a human player to try and get the alignment there going.
Nope.
Oh wow.
これ門番スルーですよ。はい。
I disconnected. Cool. All right. That was actually a lot harder than it usually is.
できてますね。
So yeah, if you're on that exact
もう意図的にどんどん
when your shadow is kind of
悪いことしてますからね。これ。
you actually don't get the kind of the text box that comes up where the person runs up and says that you need to have a code to get through here. Didn't get it.
That's okay.
Back.
Too early.
It's too early.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, what we're doing here. Sorry.
So yeah, and now we're just kind of moving through the sewers. By the way, this is a lot nicer if you are trying to run through the sewers with 3 active
ブルードロップ
characters.
が
If you
ブ
just
ルー
kind
ス
of
ライ
use
ム
the
が
strategy, you don't need to worry about
め
the
んどくさい
actual
ですからね。
characters. Sometimes I'm going to run into stuff anyways though.
ちゃんとバルーンで麻痺させてますね。麻痺じゃないか。
Nice. Almost.
Okay.
I'll do.
Okay.
ボトボケ状態にするんだっけ？
I got this. Oh, I think we got this. Not really. Not really. Go, go, go.
I'm a happy little snowman.
So we just brought our snowman pal to see the resistance.
ってね。
So yeah,
なんだこれ
by the
な
way,
る。
fun fact, if you have to boil your snowman in this cutscene,
スノーマンで
The boy
雪だるまであそこ入るってすげえ
You keep making me say boy. He's a hero.
シュールだなこれ。
They're all heroes, of course. But the hero has a head nod kind of animation that can't play when he's a snowman. So
日本ルール知らないんですよね。
Okay.
どういうんだろ
once again, super laggy town for the characters, and I think we have a bit of a time for.
う。ランディだと話が続かなかったはずですけど。
Yeah.
Lovely, 'cause we've got
ポポイだからまだいいけど。
I have
確かバグる
someone called Shiwa.
のか
yeah,
な。
Shibaruka.
それはやったことがないからわからないな。
But I just want someone to pet Yagamoth. Maybe if Bloody Dar has free time and Yaga doesn't mind, just pet him for me because I can't. What with oceans and all that.
ここで真面目な会話になりますね。
Much love to everybody there. Y'all are awesome.
真面目な会話。
Awesome. Thank you for your donation.
真面目な会話って
Master
な。
Sarg, $25. Awesome event. Let's see some crazy glitches. Hagspan,
Ah,そうか、
$50.
通常グレードも
Thanks
起
for
こり得
putting
る
on
か。
such an amazing marathon. I'm sorry I couldn't make it to watch your run in person, Tonic. Good luck on the run. Plostrian, $25. First time donation. So here's the Secret of Mana co-op run.
あの顔でやる。
Especially Yagamoth for his 100% videos and shoutouts to Poexel, Dragon Dark, and Muppleton. Buttercup, $25. Hooray for Secret of Mana. How about everyone hit Squeenix up on Twitter and convince them to be an upcoming part of the re-release on the Nintendo Switch to English? I don't see there could be a problem with
We
that.
can't do this. We aren't selected right now. Yeah.
Well, he can try.
Geister Carl, $10. Could we get a 3-player 2-controller category for Secret of Mana? Good luck with the run, and I want to see the glitches in the end.
ヒロインの
So
名
yeah,
前
some of
が
these are still from a while
しょうが
ago.
ないですね。オーバーフローなん
Jintatsu,
で。
$50. 3 of my favorite peeps playing one of my favorite games. Put this to the Glitch Fest. Good luck, brothers. And Kratos. Now, Kratos the guy that sniped the name for
Yeah,
the hero. And he also sniped the name for the sprite.
実際できるバグを全部やり込んでますっていうレベルのことしかやってないからもう何も言えないっすわ。
Tawali Amola, $100. As someone who struggles with depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation, it is as well as having lost friends to the suicide. I want to thank Dave deeply for having the courage and
いや
honesty
俺
to
もだっ
share his
て
story.
何個は
Nami does
今までや
important work in helping
ね
to
この
dispel the
プレイ
stigma
で
surrounding
見た
mental
ことある
illness
やつは
and providing support
て
and
か見たことあ
resources
って自
to
分
people
が
in
やったのは
crisis.
半分
I'm
ぐらいありま
proud
すけ
to
ど
be able to help and support
知らないの多いっすもん
in return. I encourage everyone else with the means to do so as well.
それ
Thank you to everybody at RPG Limit
それ
Break
共
for
通
doing
点
what
分かり
you're
ま
doing
す
for
ナー
such
シャ
a great cause.
もうすべてナーシャが悪いですから
And then $10 from Professor Nez saying, why did I ever think a 3-runner Secret of Mana run would be 3-player
FF3 も聖剣2もナーシャがメインプログラマーなんでそうですねできますからね
Go.
Go.
Yep. I always think I'm not reading enough goes, but I'll just add some extras on the end just in case. And $100 from Jeannot. Second but not last donation. The show has been awesome so far. Glad to be a part of it in my own way. Love shout out to everybody and the French Restream as
で
well.
2回目の壁です
$50 to help our very first
でも
Japanese
結局
attendee Hoishin to show his
技の
console
オーバーフローを起
manipulation
こすんで
skills.
これ
Please
も
people help
雑
to
魚
make
で
that
す
happen and show our love for the Japanese community too. And a quick shout out to Jano and the other
あれ意図的なね
great job for us this week. So.
意図的にバグを使ってノーチェラスを速くするっていうのは
I can keep going.
欲しい
I've
で
got
す
a bit
ね
more time.
Too early. Sorry.
We're trying to.
I'll leave you actually. No. Oh no.
うわ雨がすげえ
I think I was a dodge there.
All right.
You know what's fine.
Yeah, sure.
Alright, cool.
There we go. Okay, this way.
$25 from the Dark Drake. Hey everyone, great event so far. Good luck to all.
皆さんとか雨大丈夫ですか
These $25 go towards breaking the Oathkeeper cutscene in Kingdom Hearts, which you really don't want to miss.
うち結構雨がすごいんですけど
$25. Hey, greetings from Germany. Secret
で
of Mana, I love it.
その
Good
ま
luck
さ
to
き
the
進ん
runners
で
and
ます
thanks
ね
for the amazing event. Put this to Yagamoth's choice.
Thank you. Alrighty. Here, once again, we need to really make sure to not walk into this cutscene with two characters at the same time, because, well, otherwise we probably lose about half
東京
an
これからっ
hour.
す
Let's
か
not do that.
You want to be underestimate.
め
Yeah,
っちゃ
that
晴れ
would
て
be
るんですか
preferable.
うちむっちゃくちゃ雨降ってま
So,
すよ
now
今
here, briefly,
ザーザーっすよ
at least,
I'll tap out.
thingy. And the interesting thing is, by the way, once again,
これ
if
聞こえ
you
ます
have, for some reason, the boy and the sprite there, during this cutscene,
ちょっと
you will
下げ
not
ます
stop
け
the
ど
game.
こんなんですよ
Well, the league is no longer here, at least for a brief moment. Also upcoming, we have one of the more notoriously trolling bosses, really, the vampire.
分かりづらいか
Vampire, we do now have a better strategy that we used to have with slowdowns and stuff like that. However, I would like to point out that normally we play this with just kind
道路
of
が若干
controls ourselves, and even we used to in the previous marathon just kind of
聞こえてますか
control during the bosses just one control with one player two controller. However, we are now buffering for each other.
結構雨がひどいですよ
And also are implementing this, and especially in a boss like the lot more difficult. So
さあタナト
we
スさ
initially
ん
will try to hit
の
him,
イベントが
and
ま
then
あ
I will try to manipulate the sprite in getting
終わ
even
っ
right
て
the vampire, hoping that he's jumping, hit him. There we go.
はい
Start the overcharge.
ヴァンパイアさんですねまあやり方は変わんないですね
Slow down.
でスローダウンかけてコードを遅くしてあ違うあれだ止めてる間に全部いじるんだ
So I actually unselected the sprite here because the sprite can actually not cast as quickly if he is human controlled.
I lost it.
Oh, you've lost it
それ
completely.
足止めですこれ
So just keep casting, boy.
I need to actually do
Oh
this.
yes.
空中に行かれるともうなすすべないんでこれ
Wait a little bit. There we go.
Oh, well, hello.
Yeah, that's.
空中行かれると
basically eating the sprite.
Oh, wow.
スピア
It will
か
deal a little bit of damage and then
ブーメラン
you
で
can
しか
get
ダメージ
the sprite
与えら
back
れ
up
なく
in
な
a
っちゃう
second.
ので
Actually, I should be able to do this.
地面に近い時にもう攻撃をするように
The spell is just to lock the vampire into place. Going to
まあ
unselect
スピード
again.
ダウンを使って なるべく地上に足止めしているっていう戦い方で。でもこれ割と早く倒そうと思ったらやると思いますよ。特に空中に飛ぶやつ。あ、遅かった。
Magical herb? Yeah, there we go.
Do you have MP actually? I used it. I'm not sure if it was actually going to work. Might be a bit early.
ちょっと事故ってますね。ちょっと事故ってます。
He uses energy absorb. So while the vampire is floating up there, unfortunately we did not quite get the initial setup going because he decided to dodge our attacks a bit too much.
Oh no, we're getting position.
There we go.
Nice.
大丈夫かな。
Okay.
敗因降りてきたら負けた。悪魔城のタスじゃないですけど、負けた原因降りたから。
Hopefully this time we have a bit more hits in between because he was dodging quite a bit there.
If not as many dodges, that would have been over a lot quicker.
またこの顔である。
The difficult thing is also sometimes the overcharge attacks actually somewhat change during the fight. Like it just sometimes are normal swings, which is what we want because they are really quick to read. But often they are just kind of switching over to different attack animations, and those have different delays. So during this, during the vampire is kind of especially notorious to try and time your spells and.
で、あとあれか、サウスタンの。
Also, now we are actually setting up for a skip that Pro actually discovered. Controller speedrunner of this game, and what we are doing here is we are going to, well, the reason as to why Bowie. Okay. The reason as to why Bowie in the first place decided to get the lady at a little bit lower.
ここでもバグ使うか。
I don't want to go too low because I will go through the through it.
Yeah, it's okay. Up. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. So we decided. Normally we try to aim for those guys to kill Bowie in, or well, the lady in 2 hits there.
Yeah, I basically survived the Wallface fight and the vampire fight and also the Minotaur fight. So I would have hopefully have only survived one of. I would have survived one less of those 3 fights. So I died in my. The girl died in Boreal Face, and then probably one more of those.
Indeed.
But it didn't happen.
So not too needed.
So what you're supposed to do is just kind of go into the castle and sit at the back. Sorry, I actually whatever. Sit at the banquet, and what that basically means is that you get thrown into prison, and then you fight a metal mantis. You're not going to be doing that. So you can actually walk through NPCs normally, but not when your weapons are out, except if your character is dead. And what we are doing here is we are using a setup where we let the lady just straight up walk through the guards there on the left side, and then whoops, we are on the other side. And now we run through the entirety of the castle where there are no enemies, where there normally are enemies, and we will just kind of be able to get to the top of the castle and fight the boss there. I feel like we can fit 1 or 2 missions.
Brilliant. And I'm going to read this because if I don't, I'll be in a lot of trouble when I get home. I have $25 from my wife who says, "Happy birthday, Bob.
Happy birthday,
Don't let
Bob.
him fool you. It's actually his birthday today.
この状態で来ると敵が一切出ないんで、ここただ走り抜けるだけ。で、皇帝と三重士が。やっぱりやったか、あれ。
Come and tell Takaze what you want to do. $10 from 2-Bit Marksman. I always knew Bowie was a magical girl in another life. Good luck on the Chromp.
このフラグなんですよね。フラグが。
$10 from Elevander.
なんだっけ
Secret of Mana was
レ
the
ジス
last
タン
game
ス
my
が
dad
捕まっ
finished
た
fully
っつっ
before
て
us kids did.
騒ぐのが
Life
フラグ
and
だったような
work
気がしました
constraint
確
made him
か
pretty much have to give up gaming after that, and he didn't get to start gaming
ほら
again
普通に
until
行くと
around the
確
time
か
the PS4 came out.
罠にかかったバカめがみたいに確かなったじゃないですかあれがフラグなんですよだからあの後に敵が全部配置されるんで敵がいない状態が一時的なんですよ逆になんで、まあ、あれもあっさり普通に進むっていうでここもまあちょっと当たらなかっただけで全然当たりましたねでマタンゴーさんが助けに来てくれるっつってタタンタタンタンっつってね遊んでやがる遊んでやがる
You kind of make your way through the Empire's castle to the top, and then the Emperor's like, no, fight this mech rider. And then afterwards,
まあ終わるでしょうねあと光と闇とどうせ闇スキップするから闇スキップもう帰る気ないでしょ
Flamey is a recurring part of the Mana series as well. He's in Children of Mana. I believe he's in Dawn of Mana as well, from what I remember. I'm the girl.
後ろの正面
Skipping stuff.
はいやりましたはいまたやりました平然でやってきますねはい
So basically we are using an item, then hit a rope pull, and in the meantime the third character is then just kind of pushing against the wall, and that means we just kind of get to, well, straight up walk through walls, essentially. So the rope pulls are kind of broken in this game.
これ一人じゃできないですよこれコープだからできる技ですけど
Because I just used a level 1 sword attack that launches you forward, and it kind of got interrupted halfway through, but the game still remembered, oh, I did not finish the sword attack yet, so it continued using that sword attack.
2人だとできる技ですけど
Just kind of straight up skip through that wall and get into this trial here.
Now this is the biggest sequence break in the game, I feel, for how much you actually have to do. Normally what you have to do is visit all of the palaces in the world, so the Moon Palace, the Light, the Dark Palace. And when you've done all of that, you also have to go to the Republic.
さっきもね本家では説明してましたけどあれなんだっけ無知を使うときに位置が強制されていくじゃないですかあの瞬間に壁側に押すんですよ他のプレイヤーが他の操作してる人が壁側に押すと位置ずれをまた起こすんでさっきみたいに移動ができるっていうとんでも仕様ですねさあうまく自害して
The strat here is that we're actually killing off our characters, and when that character dies, the respective doppelganger also disappears.
ドッペルゲンガーさんのおお危ない危ない
So the fastest way, obviously, to do that is by just running into their attacks and taking as much damage as possible.
あっさり終わりましたね
Some damage before even entering this place.
Yes, that was actually intentional. We did not just
最速は死ぬことですからね
We actually wanted to prepare our characters to die a bit quicker there.
You're supposed to kill them actually, like regularly to actually, or defeat them regularly to do that. But we're not strong enough to do that at all. So obviously,
well, I mean, with overcharge, but that would be super slow.
No, Stinger, no.
So this is where I go northeast, right?
Southeast.
So
close
to
enough.
northwest, obviously.
So if I may for a moment, I have a $20
やっぱり闇神殿スキップしましたね
who
であ
says,
とは
I just want to take the time to appreciate all the
アイス
charities
キャッ
that's
スル
going
行
on.
って
Not only are people donating to a good
あ
cause,
ここで一回止まるの
but
か
Yaga
フラ
and
グ
Stinger are
回収かな
carrying Bowie through this run.
Someone was going to say it. I was just waiting, and it had to be Bick, didn't it? Cheers, Bick.
Well, if it wasn't going to be him, it was going to be me. So. And Bick also said he'll see everyone here soon.
あ光も無視ですねこれね
Alright, thank you very much for that. So,
You want to explain what we just did?
what did we just do?
Oh, we just landed at Ice Palace.
Right, that one. So we never actually completed the Ice Palace. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go into the Ice Palace and die, you actually get thrown outside, and well, you get revived.
Yeah, so you actually can't physically or get a game over in the Ice Palace. There's another place that this happens with the Mantis Ant at the very start. But by going into the Ice Palace, now so that shield, let's say, of being revived after you die, is only removed if you leave. Oh, have we actually done this? Are you serious? Have we saved?
Not since Firegates. Oh, Wind Palace.
Oh,
yeah.
Never mind.
Hi guys.
Never mind.
We're all good.
So that shield there is only removed.
What do we have left?
4.
All right, perfect.
We're good.
So that's only removed if either you complete the Ice Palace or if you leave the Ice Palace back into the Crystal Woods. Now, because we had Flamey, we could literally just land and then leave. So we got the shield, and then we didn't either complete it or leave back into the Crystal Woods. So we kept the Santa shield. We died to a Gigrepilon, otherwise known as the Watermelon. And it skips an entire cutscene. A, you don't have to fight it, and B, it skips an entire cutscene where you actually get Dryad, which is our 5th mana spirit.
By the way, can we get the timer restarted? I don't think that run was going very well, so no, don't.
We're just going to start again.
What would you have done if we did?
We would have started again, and we would have done an even better run.
Like kill Stinger.
Possibly.
Possibly. So, to just explain this very briefly, we just created a corrupted save with no information as to where you are supposed to start. If you load the save, it will basically crash the game. You do this by landing in the Frost Forest and next to Nico and just saving there. That's literally all you do. Basically, what we can now do is hold start, select L and R for a few seconds, and that will kind of not wipe out the entirety of the location that we are currently in. So what that means, we can actually basically do that soft reset and then load the save file and start exactly where we just reset. We are going to soft reset into the beginning cutscene here. In this beginning cutscene, your actual character is actually hidden, and all your characters are made invisible, and suddenly we are having invisible characters, except for the lady here, who now actually also has the boy visible as well. So the way this works is essentially that you kind of interrupt a cutscene or a thing that normally are supposed to make your characters visible afterwards, but we kind of interrupted that between. So the sprite is now still invisible. And the game more or less thinks, because we have an invisible character in our party, there is that we are in cutscene mode. Also, you can walk through wall a bit. Which, by the way, real quick, let's actually go up real quick. This guy here is still standing there. Because we messed up the previous cutscene. And we can actually just straight up walk through the wall thanks to this guy.
You may notice if you look at the bottom,
でもこれであれですね、メガゾーンスキップして、
because of the invisible character, we are in cutscene mode, which allows us all of this great movement.
Yes. This is what we call the Grand Palace backwards. Essentially, we're going into one room just kind of in front of the previous room. What that also allows us to do is summon the boss that is in the middle of the room where you're supposed to get to after doing the entirety of the Grand Palace, pretty much, and also the underground section, a rather large portion of the game.
出てなかったよね。
Oh, that's nice to know. I think you need to use healing magic actually. I don't think this will survive.
でメガゾーンスキップして、
So yeah, basically,
パックンドラゴンを出てくるんで。
basically,
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
I moved down. I was moving down.
今フランスのリストリームからですね。バゲットフランカー Z っていうのがみんなねフランスのリストリームのところからバーっていうコメントが来ました。はい、返しましょう。皆さん今いる人で返しましょう。なんかいい単語ないかな。
I'm gonna let go of this entire charge and we're gonna start again.
サバする？サバする？みんなでサバ投げてくる。
Okay, let's try this again. We are trying to kill this guy in order to gain access to...
This is the final boss now.
Yeah.
There we go. We're trying to kill this guy in order for us to gain access to the upstairs area
向こうの
where we try to
フレンチリストリームで返してきます。
grass or leaf or mana, whatever you want to call it. And what that normally does for you is it triggers a cutscene. You see, oh no, that last mana seed that we need to seal. By the way, we skipped pretty much all the others before.
Yeah. Also, balls are optional.
Yep. All that entire thing is just kind of, well, we don't need to do that, and we are just kind of straight up in here.
It should be said that obviously the sprite is still there, it's just invisible, so the reason there was like a slight block there was because the sprite was further down.
Yes,
So
it's difficult to navigate
having
having an invisible character.
You don't say.
Yeah, slightly. Also, sometimes Thanatos does not come all the way down. Don't ask me why. So, alrighty, this is Hexas. Kind of one of my favorite bosses. Unfortunately, you don't get to see much of her. Hopefully, anyways.
じゃあ皆さんここでここに行ってここに行って皆さんサバピンやりましょう。サバピン。
Just in front of the boy. That way, the lady will actually take the damage from the spells and also the attacks, and Bowie will be able to just hit it. I'm just kind of standing off to the side, trying to not get hit here. Okay.
Oh, that's not good. Okay, so
just stand behind the girl. The girl is perfectly positioned. If you stand in the correct position, Hexas does not move around, but it's kind of a tricky spot to hit anyways. This spell magic just kind of removes all your buffs and also removes your charge attack if you have any charge attack. Okay. Also, Hexas does have a fair amount of HP, so we need to hit her quite a few times. Don't think that killed her. Also, as you might be able to notice, I'm using a Royal Gem here on the lady. Despite her having 0 HP, she will get revived after having 0 HP if you use the Royal Gem early enough. That is not the case for candy or chocolate that heal a fixed amount. Royal Gem always heals you to full.
Also, if this fight goes south and you have to use a lot of items, it's not so bad because we're actually going to do, it's kind of similar to what we did at the start. We're going to be doing another extended soft reset, which saves the positioning of the character. So we're going to do that here. Stinger's going to do it for an extended period of time because just to make sure that we're going to load that corrupted save, which will bring us into the next fight with Mech Rider 3. It's going to remove the small cutscene you see. It's going to remove the boss music, and it will also restock all of our items to the amount we had.
And also, more importantly, we skip about 2 or 3 text boxes.
あれね、発言禁止はね、多分ボットですね。ムーボットがスパム扱いしちゃったんですよね。あ、了解です。
I get locked, that means Bo is just going to do the many buffer, so Stinger can retain his charge attacks.
今ね、フレンチリストリームからバゲットっていうサワーピン出てキックフレンチリストリームからバゲットフランカーってきたんで、じゃあこっちもサバピンで返そうってやったんですけど最初やったら弾かれたってOh no ですよ
And as long as he does not have a buff spell, he will not actually do anything else. So he literally only ever buffs us as a counter attack.
West.
Is that me?
I'm not sure. It's one of you two. I know I don't have it.
So
whoever was the last one to menu to do the overcharge or the buffer charge is the person who has...
it's me. That's bad.
The person who has the ability to continue... So we're going to Pandora just to save because...
Save a different slot.
Yeah.
This is just kind of safe to save for marathon purposes because
this is a
pretty brutal place, as mentioned.
Why did I do
やっていかないとね
I'm so used to resetting after a
で、今どこまで行った
Oh well.
It's okay. So,
ゲームの方どこまで行った
Never mind, let's fly.
見てなかったんだけど
We'll fly.
I didn't select the sprite though. Do the many buffer for it.
もうあれ
So either way,
大陸であ、もう神殿でもうあれじゃん要塞出てるじゃん レイドしてる間に出てるよ。本末転倒ですね。
So either way, you're not supposed to go into the Pure Lands in order to regain the full power of the Mana Sword. You're supposed to figure it out.
おしいいですね。10分ぐらいさがいいんじゃない？そんなに頻繁にしなくても。
Basically, we just completely skip the entrance trigger. Fortress that would normally send you away and
Envoyé, j'allais dire le script de la baguette. Mais je suis super influencé par notre chat.
あ、普通にもう普通に直ってる。
We got it. Okay, cool. So this is going to be amazing. This is going to be amazing. Okay, so I'm going to start by using a candy on myself. Yep.
はい、スキップですね。
And now we walk through walls. So this entire thing only saves about, I don't know, 5 to 10 seconds, but it's pretty awesome. Plus, we actually avoid a lot of enemies.
もうこんなんしちゃうとさ、あってなるよね。
Kind of try to get all the characters through the wall. The way we do this is we need to use an item and then hit the rope hole on the right side of the screen here. But hitting the rope hole is kind of difficult if I need to be the one walking to the wall. However, the way we do this is we're just kind of overcharging the weapon and then switching over to a that will allow us to, well,
hit the rope hole from through the wall using the level 7 charge from the spear, from the boomerang. It's quite nuts.
No.
I'm going to keep him
I'm scared.
Okay,
Alright.
that's good.
We can just
もうここ
one-shots the girl and the sprite.
なんだっけ、スプライトをね、スプライトの上限でしたっけ、あれを使っていろいろ壁抜けとかするんですよね、あれ。だからさっき説明してた無知を使うとこで位置ずれ起こるのをまた使ってるんですよ、あれ。位置ずれを使った瞬間に回復アイテムなり何なり使うとそのキャラ止まるじゃないですか。だから集まるところに集まらないので、それを使ってマス目の移動できるっていう、そういう言い方しかできないんだよな、あれ確か。あれ成功だって一人じゃできない？できたかな俺。もう聖剣2の RT してないからできるんか分かんない。試したことないんで。だから、まあ、基本的にはもう無知を無知の強制移動を利用したバグですよね。逆手に利用してあそこの上に行かなきゃいけないところを全部パスするっていう。降りたら負け、降りたら負けたですね。俺スキップしか言ってなかったから。俺スキップですってねとか言ってなかったから今。向こうかな。これは普通に行きますね。バグが使えない場所ですから。てかバグを使っても移動できる場所じゃないから使わないんですけどね。ああごめんなさい。もうねネタ気づくの下手なんですよ俺。ごめんなさいね。あれなんか初めて見るなこの敵。あれこんな敵いたんだ。こんな地上を這うスライムなんていたんですね。ちょっと知らなかったですわ。ね、ちょっとこんな敵なんかどっかで出てきそうなはずなんですけど、こんなとこで初出場とはね、すごいですね。おっぴらな。ね、ラストダンジョンだから仕方ないですよね。
So no pressure or anything.
まあラストダンジョンだからまあどっかで出てきてるかもしれないですけど、いや見たことないんだよな。なんでやろう。アシッドレインばっかりしてくる。闇の神殿とかあったかね。そんなの見た覚えないですけどね。
Slime's casting invulnerability, trying to just keep our characters alive. If we get hit by acid rain, we will die.
そうそう、初見だからね、戦い方がちょっとわかんない。それでコアっぽいの殴ってればいいんでしょとか気づいたら終わってるんですけど。いやー、スライムなかなか強敵でしたね。1、2発で死ななかったですよ。すごくないですか？結構耐えましたよ。強くないですか？ねえ、ほんと強敵だったわ。
So once again, if we get hit by any enemy, they kill us. We
Ninja
kind of know what they are
Master.
going to be doing based on their movements and actions, and we also try to manipulate certain enemies into spawn.
初めてのボスはなかなか強かったっすね。さすがラストダンジョンっていうだけは。
Through here is actually really tricky, and if you see us running into the wall, that is all spot manipulation. Trust me. We are not actually just kind of making super inefficient movements.
このカニめんどくさいんだよな。
Enemies, bosses, and other things.
あれですかね、皆さんちょっと質問しますけど、経験2やったことある方に聞きますけど、すべての武器をレベル9とかにしたことありますか？てかもう最後やん。
So yeah, throughout this entire run, we've been basically doing spawn manipulations. We run in diagonals against walls in order to make the game think we are going to go in a diagonal direction. We try to predict where to spawn the enemies, so they are going to be lower in time. But we are just kind of walking in diagonal into a wall, which kind of leads us along the wall, so we are not really moving where the game expects us to, and that is kind of what we do in the entire game. So, alrighty, and now we are at the second.
体を汚せってね。体を汚せっつって体を乗っ取ろうとするんですけど、でタナトスさんがディラックの体を乗っ取るんですがね。でなんてことだ、まさかの乗っ取られてしまったっていう。あ、なんだって乗っ取られたのにディラックの声が聞こえる。どういうことどういうことっていう。ディラックの精神なんて強いんだ。はい、ダークリッチさんです。音聞こえるかな？ ケチャが流れますよ、ケチャが。ディラック方程式ディラック方程式とかなんだっけ？聞いたことあるけどなんだっけそれ。どういう式だったっけ？ 量子力学だっけ確かあれ。違ったっけ？
So yeah, he does have a lot of evasion. It's very annoying when he dodges. We may see him go underground. Maybe not.
調べよう。That's okay. もうダメだな。
The technically optimal fight is.
あ、そうかそうか。フェルミ粒子か。そうかそうかそうか。
The technical optimal fight is
ディラックの実とかありますね。お、急に哲学的になったぜこのジャパニーズリストリーム。いいんじゃないの？早い。
Unfortunately, you didn't get to see the headbang AI loop. It's not technically, but
basically a thing where
あれ確か行列だっけねそれ基礎方程式行列使ってなんか計算式作るんだよねダメだその辺は専門じゃないから名前ぐらいしか知らん
move into position, he'll move up after you, then because he can't actually reach you, he'll be like basically
Samaピンで哲学を妨害
hence the name headbang, because he can't like be on the same level as you, because he can't get into position, and then you basically bring the hero underneath in the same kind of alignment to attack and just let him there. You can't go back under and reform above ground because of it.
Exactly.
物理学系じゃないのだ
I think figured that out during a marathon run as a normal marathon.
So.
During a marathon.
Yep. Just kind of, I would even attack that there. That was my thought, anyways.
Okay, so we've got one of the last glitches of the run.
Yep.
さあフラミーさんが大暴れしますフラミーさんが超大暴れします
Ladies and gentlemen, you may remember the mana sword. We deal enough damage, so we don't technically need the mana sword. However, it has the nice property of never missing. And that's why you're going to summon the mana sword now here anyways, but in a kind of a bit specific fashion. Oops, wrong thing. I'm going to be unleashing the mana sword here in a precise timing. And that the mana sword. We kind of skipped about a 20-second mini cutscene that plays out when you first unleash the mana sword onto the world.
同じです
And well, that's that.
Yeah, so the thing is, because our dry
out power is level 0,
the mana magic fades quickly, so the cutscene would actually
まあフラミーさんがどういう設定だっけな
but this cutscene doesn't detract from that time. It gives me enough time as the girl to then cast Frost Saber over the mana sword. Now, whenever you swap characters' weapons to do the overcharge glitch, the most recent weapon kind of status or saber that's been cast is removed, which is Ice Saber. And then that's it. So we basically keep the mana sword forever for the entirety of this fight without having to recast.
そうやってマナ剣残すんだ。はあ。
So yeah, final fight.
それは知らなかった。
And this is Meridian Dance, and this song is absolutely brilliant.
I was about to say that.
マナ剣の上にアイスセーバーを乗っけるんですって。アイスセーバーを乗っけることによって武器スワップしてもアイスセーバーの効果が消えるだけなんですって。あ、残るんか。アイスセーバーの効果が残るんで、違う。アイスセーバーの効果消えるけど、メニュー画面中だから、マナの剣の効果残りっぱなしなんですって。だからそれを利用してマナ剣のままなんですって。すごいねこれ。よくこんな見っけたね。
As quick of an attack as possible against the mana beast. As mentioned, despite by the way now after the mana.
でもさ、これうわ、回避がぴったりすぎる。回避がぴったりすぎて笑える。あ、できましたね、準備が。
I'm also going to be casting assets on here.
いや、ほんとさっきのバグ知らなかった。で、これで、なるべく動きを止めておきますね。で、カウンターマジックレベル8が入るんで。
Okay, level 1 is fine. Okay, so it's possible to get a 1 cycle on the mana beast. However, it is really tight in timing. You need to get a bit lucky unless you use slowdown strategies, kind of like on Buffy. However, trying to do that in this kind of plus, we would not get it now anyways because we have a level 1 sword charge attack animation, which we.
で、あとはもうバグ成功したので。レベル1の技を貯めて切るだけ。ああ、間に合わない。
And we'll go for it on this next cycle.
Oh yeah,
Yaga?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right. I've actually forgot about it until now, so it's kind of not a bad thing. Hopefully, anyways.
We're gonna just try something that's a little special.
で、これタックルか。これ火柱だよね。火柱飛んでくる方だよね。よし。で、それをまあ、ヒールウォーターとか、リカバーとかで全部直し 回復エフェクト中に通過することでダメージを全く受けないという、まあ皆さんよくやるバグだと思います。これが一番よく皆さんやるようなバグですね。回復を使ってダメージを受けない。はい、はい、真珠バグりましたね。はい、真珠バグりましたね。
Shoutouts to Crow, who basically told me, "Hey, can you open up your menu during this fight?" Just kind of right around then, and I was really freaking out when he told me, "What did you do, Crow?" So yeah, that was just kind of, why does that even happen? It's amazing.
I still don't know.
はい、終わりました。
Time is coming up.
Time is not yet. Time is not yet. When the characters reform, so just 1 second. It's a few bits, but.
まだタイマーじゃないですね。
Time.
ここで終わりですね。はい。
Well done.
That was a great run. That was really good.
すごいね。もうバグしまくった上にスキップできるとこみんなスキップしやがった。
The previous kart world record was 154. That was set by yourself in Yaga. Before.
はい、それで最後から2番目の真実が流れますよ。最後から2番目の真実を流して終わりかな。
Ladies and gentlemen, the Glitch Fest incentive has been met. I don't think we necessarily have enough time on the schedule, unfortunately, to watch the entirety of the credits. By the way, do you have the list?
It's on my PC, but I remember what we're going to do.
Alrighty. Okay.
I do need to go grab a flash cart.
That would be actually clever.
That would be a good idea.
That would give me some time to burn through some of these donations.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, no problem. Let's do
we're
it.
going to set up basically a few things.
当時のスタッフみたいにどうすんだろうね。こんなにバグされたら。
$10 from Punk Ideas. Sadly, I'm stuck at work, so I'll have to watch the VOD tonight. Secret of Mana is one of my all-time favorite SNES games. I'm sending my Bowie hype and my Yaga Hrop. $10 for fighting Culex in Super Mario RPG. Flame Seeker sends $30. Hey guys, thank you for this awesome event. Secret of Mana is my favorite game, and I always enjoy watching the speedruns. Keep up the good work, and greetings from Germany.
Yeah, hello.
Heina. Mueller sends $20. Good luck to the runners. $5 to Yaga, Bowie, Stingers, and Umaga choices respectively.
This guy is the best.
Why not?
If you don't know this guy, he's the best.
Ray Dances.
いや、これだったらみんなできそうだ。
A 3-player run of this game was always the dream I had when I was younger. So it's awesome to see it done with such skill. If the glitch incentive has already been met, put this towards Yagamoth's choice, which we'll find out a little bit after the run. And I've got $25 from the RPG chick.
なんかある。
Much love to everyone that made this event awesome. Good luck to Yaga, Bowie, and Stinger. Yaga should join our rando races. Could we not get through one Bowie game without a mention of rando races?
Okay, look, I've had enough of this. There have been millions of rando races, and I've done one. There was 13 people playing rando yesterday. This guy included, that guy included. 6 a.m. and I'm the addict. Great.
But you are the one getting called out on the internet.
It is true, and that's the most important thing.
Okay. I think we can probably start. So, I did just a safe warp to get into this ending credits cutscene, and most of the cutscene areas that are purely for cutscenes are basically just copies of other areas with more or less random triggers as to what they do. For example, if I want to begin here, we suddenly have music, so that's kind of neat. But we can also just kind of go into a completely different direction, try to leave through here, and we go to the left instead, which is a bit weird, but don't worry, we just can out on the ice country anyways. So, alrighty, what do we start with?
Let's see, we're going to the Snapdragon save, which is on the flashcard.
Alrighty, let's do this.
Yeah, we're just going to quickly swap over to the flashcard, which has got a few setup saves.
Actually, only one.
Oh,
but
one setup.
That's all they need.
これ SD カードにあれですね、セーブデータ入れてやってるやつですね。
Don't worry about it, it's okay. Basically, this is just the normal game, don't worry about it. And here we do have a save file that has a few things set up. Do we go for invisible characters first, I take it?
Invisible characters at Snapdragon.
Alrighty. So, you may have seen how we got invisible characters during the run. That was just essentially safe warping into the beginning cutscene. There is one other method that we know about in order to create invisible characters. So in this save, we are basically just before fighting the Snapdragon in the area here. And you may have seen us getting eaten accidentally, but that's kind of inconvenient to explain that. But when we get eaten, our character actually disappears. And that means they are now invisible. For the purpose of this game, they're just made invisible briefly, kind of like in a cutscene. You can use the magic rope in this area, which means it transports you to the entrance, and we interrupts this invisibility thing. And now the sprite is invisible, kind of like before, which is kind of weird, isn't it? But invisibility things are just kind of neat. You can do this for various skips and other things, but in this case, we actually do have a different setup. Where's Matango?
Matango is
west and slightly north.
West and slightly north. Right?
ウエスト、西の方ですね。マタンゴここからなら西の
go
方。
about 10 seconds over time.
ね。ちょっと行き過ぎてない？
Yep, there you go.
Indeed,
Alright,
indeed.
thank you.
the world record holder, ladies and gentlemen.
So yeah, something that we may not have explained last time. The sprite is invisible, String is controlling the sprite now, and if he faces to the left and then presses the B button, he will talk with the king here that is just here. Real quick, Stinger. And also what I'm going to be doing now here is I will deactivate the multi-tap, because the sprite is currently the third controlled character, which means he will now be following me suit again, kind of like what we demonstrated with the Water Palace cutscene real quick. Those are some multi-tap shenanigans, and I can now walk through walls because we have an invisible character, and also, whoops, we are gone. And also because essentially there's a text box going on. There we go again. So you can just kind of wrap around this area, and normally in Secret of Mana, all maps wrap around. If you run far enough to the left, you will eventually re-emerge on the right-hand side, and vice versa for that matter. So what I'm doing here, I'm just kind of casually mashing through the cutscene here. The boy tries to get back, but well, we can't really do that because we are off screen. So that's kind of awkward. So, well, that's that. For some reason, the map in Matango here does not wrap around properly, so your characters just kind of whoops, go away, and then suddenly appear on the right again. I have no clue why that is. And next up, we do have some more multi-character shenanigans. For example, they can just straight up walk through NPCs, which is kind of nice because you know how you can no longer go back to Podos. I mean, you can't just skip through that. Where is it? There it is. So, in Podos, this is your home village. This man is just kind of standing in the way. And invisible characters.
入る方法やるな、まさか。
The sprite is in the wall of the left. That's kind of awkward.
同じことして多分入るよ。
Either way.
It happened to the girl last time, didn't it?
Yeah, we just kind of go back outside. So,
これ一回出なきゃい
invisible
けないんだ
characters can straight up walk through triggers and stuff like that. For example, if I try to take the sprite here and go down, give me a second. If I try to just go down, the sprite is now beyond the screen transition trigger. He can get
これはよくやりますよね。
but he can just kind of lead AI control characters through NPCs, and well, we are now through back in Podos, which isn't all that big of a deal since you can do this in different forms as well. Well, if you please,
これ結構やり方がちらほらあった気がしたけど。
So, alrighty. So what we want to do now here is briefly go back to the beginning. So I would like to, as you have seen earlier, already, you know, basically, okay.
We have to try and shepherd Yagamoth around.
Oh.
Come down.
That's actually
that's
Stinger right now. Don't worry.
Stinger, right,
maybe just go AI controlled. It might be easier.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are
キャラが見えないからどこにいいかわかんない。
forest, and as you may have seen, places cutscenes just kind of have weird and random triggers associated with them, which makes it a bit interesting in what exactly happens with other things.
やべえ、バグをやりたい放題やってるこれ。
A little
大
bit
丈夫か
to the left of this screen here. Oops, the sprite got stuck there. Let's see whether it drops. We need just.
We do need a trust, don't we?
Yes, a little bit to the left here, there is that cutscene trigger. You know, when you, at the very beginning of the game, just kind of go past those, we need to reset, past those bushes. For example, just there in between those bushes, you can essentially trigger nares. You can trigger that thing. That's okay. Just go beyond the screen. Alrighty. So, just to explain this, if Stinger has an invisible character, his distance between objects and his character are not calculated, which is why he can't remotely interact with them from a distance. Bowie, come now to my position, please. And we are just now going to be holding left, and Stinger opens up the chest from a remote, and we can just straight up walk through walls. And this cutscene trigger here, where does it lead to? To the debug room. This is kind of a weird room. Let me actually make Mr. Stinger here briefly visible.
We found the snowman already.
Yeah.
We searched for ages for this thing yesterday.
Yes. So this is basically just a test room. Certain NPCs do certain things, like this guy in the middle just turns to you when you the guy here interacts with you. And also, oh, I should not have made him visible. Less than ideal. All right. That's a bit unfortunate, but we can just kind of also talk to the king. And that starts the beginning cutscene again. So unfortunately, I actually kind of messed this up a bit. What I was supposed to do is I should have left the sprite invisible, and the game just kind of talked. Also, we can move the cutscene around
a little bit.
So this is actually really interesting how this works. So these opening cutscenes, where it's a scrolling screen, all the game had done had basically had the hero basically in the cutscene, just made him invisible and slowly moved him across the screen. So what we're doing basically is moving the cameras around with the characters.
Yep. If I just left the sprite invisible still here again, the game would have actually made the sprite visible during this cutscene. Unfortunately, I just derped there a bit, and yeah.
Oh yeah, I never really paid attention.
Yeah, I should have done that. Okay. What else do we have?
Barrels.
Barrel
fun.
Barrel fun is nice, and also we probably want to just go to Southdown for that, I guess. So we have three more things.
Because we can show the other thing off with them.
I think we leave that out for now. Okay. Because I don't want to go for too long. It's only minor thing anyways. So now I have actually no clue where Southdown is.
East. You're going north from here.
North now, yeah.
Alright, thank you. That's handy. I have navigation systems. Let's say barrels are kind of broken in this game. More specifically, yeah, go ahead. More specifically, barrels in this game allow you to do various things, but also, wait before you go in there, barrels are kind of like weapons. In effect, if I just give the boy a weapon. So, Mr. Magus, you were mentioned a few times. What is your color? Red, brown, what do we have? Purple or gray? You say purple? Alrighty. We go with purple. So, we paint a barrel for Mr. Magus. Wait, I did that wrong thing, didn't I?
No, I think you did it right.
That's fine.
Alrighty, that's purple. So, as I said, barrels are basically kind of like equipped weapons, and we can color them in different colors. Like this one red, because why not? So, barrels are just really weird type of objects in this game, and it's kind of fun to play around with them. So that's just an interesting little visual glitch.
Can I have a grey one? Oh.
You can have a grey one, sure, why not?
It's more like black and white.
So, either way, now we are actually going to be doing something that was only rumored about for a lot of people for a long time until we actually figured out how to do that. Let's go to the next room for this. So, there is that thing where people report on losing characters in the sewers. Like, literally, they are no longer there. What we are doing here is we are using medical herb at a specific timing, and then, in this case, Stinger will be able to move around with the snowman and push against those NPCs. Snowmans, as you may have heard earlier, can the wrong animations, but they can also do other things with the wrong animations. This time, because I think if you go top right, it's easier to do.
For me to use this then or not?
I need to push it, but right.
Top right. We need to actually move those guys a little bit further, I feel. Let's actually try to move them real quick.
Crikey.
That'll work.
No, we need to move the slimes top right.
Ooh, that's not looking good.
That's okay. Don't worry, we have plenty of HP. So let me revise Stinger Mystic real quick. So this should... Oh.
Okay, Stinger, help us.
So this is a bit finicky to set up. Don't worry, just leave it, let it run out for now.
I'm not doing anything to you.
It's yours. Wow. Those slimes can be really vicious at times. So let's see. I think I'm going to put... Okay, wait a second. Now on me.
You have to wait until the items are about to disappear.
Now again.
Like that, there. And then push into a snowman.
Okay, I'm in the wrong position there. No? That's... Yeah, it's okay.
It might be too late. Let me heal you too.
It's fine. Don't worry about it for now.
Don't mind. Well, it's a snowman party.
You can get it on there.
Snowman's party.
There we go.
そういう場合じゃない
That's not a good idea. That was far too
Wait,
late.
how
wasn't
many do I have left? Can we multiply them real quick? Yeah,
Two. Yeah.
Okay, let's go into bits figure screen real quick. So we are going to be doing a brief equipment trashing on the fly.
Go a little bit more to the
Yeah, I'm just making sure I can see it.
And that basically will
Is that right?
yes, you want to have the armor equipped so you are still better armored.
I will do this. I'll do it one more time.
That's fine. So now we are just kind of multiplying medical herbs again. Okay, we have 8 medical herbs again. Basically, this can be a bit of a finicky setup. Let me just try to do this, please. Okay, let's see.
あっさり数
It's
増
just not
幅し
going
や
to
がっ
work.
た
No. So I do think I want to push them to the top, so I need to get to the bottom first.
Okay. Come on, chaps. Come on, chaps.
Okay.
I'll
No,
try
this
one.
works. There we
Okay,
go.
I'll try it one more time.
できるかな
Ah. Too early.
ちょっと早かったか
Oh, okay, now I'm in good position.
Ooh, okay, cool. We're in a good
Too
position.
late. But you want to heal me. Heal me very quick. I'm in good position now for this to work. If he decides to actually freeze me. Just press upright. Wait, now. Press upright. Okay, that didn't work, unfortunately. So yeah,
This is tough to set up, by the way. This is very finicky.
normally this kind of works relatively quickly. You need to be a bit inside us into the bottom here.
One chap.
Come on. So. Can you go away? I think he is not reacting. Basically AI for enemies. Don't go away, go away.
Oh my word. Oh.
順調だけ
Are
し
you
たゲー
guys
ムプレイ
sure
の
you have the
祭り
world record?
So yeah, so this should work.
Oh, wait,
Too
wait
early?
a second.
No. No, don't hit it. Oh boy.
It was an AI.
Oh, I see. Yeah, control characters, please. Messing up our things. So this is actually kind of nice. But I think if we don't get it soon, we are just going to use up the last thing is. I think, yeah, we're out of medical herbs.
Oh, damn.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Okay.
That's unfortunate, but basically that's the basic concept. It's really finicky to set up. So we are just going to move on from here. We don't want to waste too much time. We will be able to demonstrate this in various other instances. However, one last thing, ladies and gentlemen. We were talking about the crashing cutscenes. So what we're going to be doing here, I'm going to make sure that we all move at the exact same time. So that means just hold down. And ladies and gentlemen, that
Secret of Mana.
was Secret of Mana.
うわ最後にそれをやるか
So yeah. The continuous playing. That's fascinating.
Yeah. Sometimes you get different visual effects. Like it popped up briefly.
Like a dark brown green thing. Isn't it?
Yeah, just pixel vomit. But
we do have a Twitter thing on that. So that's that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Don't go anywhere because there are going to be a lot more awesome runs coming up. And well, yeah, this is for a good pour.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Let's
much.
hear it one more time for Yaga, Bowie, and Stinger.